Oh my goodness. Wow.
He might call.
Wow.
Oh, he folded.
Welcome, everyone. We are here for another edition of the GG Millions. It is Tuesday, August 4th. We got the man, the myth, Jamie Dwan, not Tom Dwan, Jamie Dwan, but he is on fire and is a name you're not going to want to forget, as he has just won a World Series bracelet, taking home over 2.2 million, and just landed in the UK and hopped off the plane and won another event. We're going to talk about that and much more. But first, Jamie, how are you? Where are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm in my first non-poker holiday in some time. I'm in France at the moment, just finally relaxing, working out what the hell has just happened in the last 3 weeks. But yeah, just kind of taking it all in at the moment.
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, congrats on the bracelet win. That's a big deal. And of course, I know you are playing, you just played again and had some success. We'll talk about that major event in the UK that just happened. I believe you participate over 15,000 runners and a nice collaboration with GG. And we'll talk on that and much more. But first, let's look at last week's winner, Aleks Borovkov, who has finally got that win. He has played 84 times, 6 final tables, as we know. Hard to win. A lot of those earnings on GG are from the GG Millions. Specifically, have you played with Aleks before?
Yeah, I played with a lot of these guys and definitely played with him a few times, yeah.
Yeah, so here is the winning hand. Excuse me. Fighting it. It's a lot going around out there. A lot of colds, a lot of different things. Stay safe. So I got a little something here. Excuse me for that, as we do see that winning hand, ace 8 to a6. Anything different you could do here? Or a6 or pretty
Doesn't look
standard?
like it. Doesn't look like a heads up. Looks pretty standard. Very, very nice. Just get the clean 8 on the turn. Just no sweat. What a life.
Yeah. Great game, great finish, great to get a title. It's hard to get. He did get it. The money was sprawled out. They did play for that, of course, in the 10K Bahamar ticket. Jamie, are you going to the Bahamas? Will you be there in December?
I will be. Yeah, I actually won a ring earlier this summer, earlier this year as well, so I'll be there for that. I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing.
First time I've been there playing there, so I'm really looking forward to that.
And how old are you, Jamie?
I'm 26.
26. Wow. Wow. Okay. So young and on fire. I did look at your head and mob. It looked like 2020, sort of, where you dove into live poker. You've obviously been on a heater as of the very late. I want to ask you a lot of questions on that. But tell me about this event that just happened over in the UK, where there was 15,000 runners. I believe the Goliath, and what that partnership looked like with GG.
So the Goliath's been running for many years, and it's always been the biggest tournament outside Vegas in terms of runners. And this year is the first time they partnered with GG. People were able to buy in with GG, able to cash out with GG. They actually even had a bonus as well. That if you bought in with GG, you got I believe, a 20% bonus on all your cashes as well, which is pretty amazing. And it was the best I've ever seen it ran. The fields were huge, and they ended up getting 15,000 runners in the £200 main event, which is just colossal. 375k pounds for first, nearly 440k dollars. Just huge. And like the way it was all run with GG was amazing. The extra cash out bonus as well, incredible. Yeah, it was a brilliant event, and I'll only go from here, definitely.
That's awesome. To give it that context, like last year roughly, or how much bigger is it now than it ever has been?
I think last year they might have had about 12,000 runners. This year, 15,000, and just and the way it was ran as well, in terms of before there was a lot of queues, much like the WSOP. This year they've absolutely tracked it, and it was brilliant. And a lot of people really enjoyed it, and definitely see like the GG structuring and everything like that rubbing off on it huge, and it will only go from there, definitely.
That's awesome. All right, well, here's again a look at the all-time ranking list. Not much has changed here as of late. We saw Samuel Wuston again winning back-to-back earlier in the year, and then now 10 titles, 13 for Artur Mortariz. I'm sure you've battled a lot of these guys. Anyone did you play?
This is a scary list of people.
Yes. Yeah, not anyone you really want to see show up at your table, but nice group of lads. What about at the final 50K that you won at the bracelet? Was I know someone at this final table today. Is there any of these names that you battled with?
None of these names are on there, but I had a pretty tough FT. We had Bryn Kenny on there, Negreanu, Daniel Rezai. We had Paulius, who's on this FT today. We had Seidel FT bubbled. We have Kristen Foxon. It was definitely my Hendon looked a bit silly compared to all theirs. Let's say that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're able to emerge as the victorious and the first-time bracelet winner. But here's a look again at Osmerko, someone we've seen a lot. 3 final tables, been in great shape here, playing well lately and showing his stuff. Aleks Borovkov there, you can see, also getting the win today. Over 406,000 to first was a $2 million guaranteed. As you can see, the payouts there, 58,000 going to be for ninth, and of course that 10K Bahamar GG Million ticket, which is in December for the WSOP. Going to be events out there, and who knows what they'll do with the Super Main. I think it's going to be a really big guarantee as well on the total series. I don't know if the official numbers are out, but excited to see what that looks like. Of course, the WSOP main event going on right now. Yesterday started. Anyone you're rooting for in that final nine?
I've got to be rooting for Feng. I have a little bit of a wager on him as well, but I'm really enjoying how he's playing. I think he's played brilliantly as well, and like I'm very much enjoying the aura of the feather outfit. It kind of has a bit of like a WSOP main character aura to it, and I'm always a big fan of that.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I did catch that. That was quite a statement, and I know he was second to start. I didn't actually got to get updated on exactly how everything shook out. But again, look at our final nine. AD, tough name to pronounce there. He's been in 180 times, 45 cashes, 20 final tables, 1 win. Gonna have a shorter stack today, but again, 15 blinds final table. Anything can happen, and he is very accomplished and just an absolute grinder on GG. 22 million earnings. Have you played much with AD?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The guy I've played with probably the most on this FT. We're always in the cracked 10 hours, always grinding. He's always playing, and yeah, very, very good player. And I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name. AD sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's nice. We'll go with that. A guy who knows not much of a stranger here. This is an unbelievable resume with a 62 appearances, 7 cashes. He has no final tables, no wins, but Zlotnikov, if I'm not mistaken, was second. He finished runner-up in the I believe I think he got second to Ben CB in the main event. If I'm not wrong,
yes,
last
he did.
year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, like, I'm interesting. I don't see that on the resume here, but I'm pretty sure he did take second for, what was it, 4 million to first. It must have been 3 million
something
or
like
some
that. Yeah,
huge
I actually
score.
played with him in the main event this year in the 10K of the WSOP, and yeah, he's got some tricks up his sleeve. He can get amongst it. He's definitely a very interesting and fun character to play with as well.
Yep. And you can see, I think, streams, he's in the purple tag. We'll get to see him today, as we again want to welcome everyone in where you're watching from. We are on the pregame portion of the show. We will have giveaways for you. So you guys want to hit that thumbs up and be subscribed. All free, and all is how you can enter the giveaway. So I do want to say hello. I see Birds and few other familiar faces. Ian Sheriff's in the house. A lot of you guys, appreciate you being here. We're gonna have a fun show. And again, there's a Zlotnik is a very, very entertaining player. We're going to see some fun stuff out of him, as we see Marco Perez, Argentina, 7 appearances, 1 final table, 2 million in earnings. Not much from the GG million sector. So again, a little bit new, right? Not as much info on him. With that being said, he does have 32 blinds. So similar to last week, not really short stacks, right? This is like 32 blinds being an eighth is a lot of chips. So I would expect him to...
I was looking over the stacks before. It's very congested, and it's very interesting like how people are going to navigate these, because there's quite a few of the 32 to kind of 50 bigs, and there isn't, a lot of congestion around there. It's probably going to take a while to get to the winner of this, but a lot of interesting spots ahead for these guys for sure.
Yeah, exactly. This is definitely ICM focused. Last week we saw queens fold on the first hand. It was an open 3-bet, 4-bet, and then 5-bet jam, and tank fold, and would have been flipping. Ended up going out 9th anyway, and had a good stack. So that was kind of a interesting hand, and definitely an ICM mess, which we'll maybe see some of that. And this is a player I do want to leave some time for you to talk about. You just battled 4 or 5 handed, I believe, in the 50K, and a tough player. And maybe tell me a little about that hand and this player's game.
So I was with him. We played. He was on the final table of the 50K that I won. And 4-handed, there was a very big clash where there was one big stack. Bryn Kenny had about 20 bigs. I had about 13, and Palias here had about 15. And I ended up getting queens in versus his kings, and won. Spiked a queen on the flop for what we've worked out to be about a $600,000 queen. So, I mean, it feels appropriate that I'm there, and now he's got another run, thankfully, because I do feel quite bad about that one, because it was certainly the biggest pot I've ever played and probably will ever play. But yeah, very, very good player, very accomplished, and was very tough on the FT. And yeah, I mean, that spot versus him is something that doesn't happen very often.
For sure. Big moment, and glad it worked out for you. We'll see if he can add some more to his impressive resume today as the player that needs no introduction. Makita Badziakouski, 6 final tables, 1 win here, but his live results are just astonishing. As you can see, the Triton, he has multiple titles and huge scores, one of the all-time money list leaders, and just a guy that definitely demands respect. And I think you could say, although this is a very strong strong final table. I think him and Juan Dominguez, kind of table captain in terms of understanding and just sort of respect within the game. Tell me about Mikita and what you know about his game personally.
I mean, absolutely incredible player. Very, very tough to play with. And also, as well as being a great player, impossible to win an all-in versus. So he's got that versus as well. I've never seen a man, I would always take his side, no matter the percentage, against this guy.
I'll tell you what, to be a player at the level, and there's so many great players, but when you're known and you're just when it literally people think that you just don't lose all ins, that's a superpower. Maybe people start
particularly he wears a particular yellow bright outfit, and if Nikita's wearing that against you, you're drawing dead. He will always win.
You're in trouble. Well, this guy is another one who is looking for a title, has 9 million in GG earnings and about 10% coming from the GG Millions. 50 blinds today, has had a Triton win for 1.34 million and another big score there. So plays live, plays online. That's a theme you're going to see here at the GG Millions. A lot of these players are, they hone their craft, they play online, they do well here, and then they also have delivered on the world's biggest stage and the biggest tournaments, biggest buy-ins across the world. So we do see that as no different here for Buldygin, as he is going to put himself in a good spot. I think we won't see a hand because he's in fourth. He's 7.86 to 1 on the betting odds today to win, and he is also, again, a very tough player. How much have you played with Buldygin?
Again, yeah, played a lot with him online as well. And yeah, as looking at his stack, he's kind of in one of the toughest seats here with a stack that is going to be kind of sandwiched between some of the shorties, inverted commas. It's going to be very difficult for him to navigate, but he's a very good player that will be able to work it out.
For sure. And here's another player that's sort of emerged, not as many appearances as others, but 2 final tables, does have a win under his belt, and about half of his online coming on GG from GG Million scores, as he has 60 blinds. We will see a hand from him top 3 today, and he also has taken down some bigger fields for, if there's a 500K score, 100K, he plays live too. So he's not afraid to mix it up, not afraid to play the big buy-ins. And here again, in position, 60 blinds, final table. Tell me about Hans and your experience.
Yeah, definitely someone who's been appearing as well a lot. I mean, I play with him a lot online as well. But yeah, again, stack-wise, he's kind of going to be able to apply a little bit of pressure, but within that congested 60 bigs, it's going to be tough, especially with the other guys ahead of him. I think the seat draw coming up for someone like Hans, and especially Buldygin before, it's going to be very, very important about how they navigate this going forward.
Yeah, it's again, it's very interesting when it's not so, when you have the shortest stacks, 10 blinds, 8 blinds, 12, 15 blind stacks, but here today, really 8 on is very, very healthy. So we should see an interesting game. Who's going to go for it? And every week it's like a box of chocolates. Forrest Gump alluded to us many years ago. That's like how it goes here. It's just, you don't know. People come to play. Some are tight, some are aggressive. A couple of weeks ago, we saw one of the wildest plays from start to finish, just everyone going for it all the time. So we really just don't know what we'll see today, but we do know we are going to see Jack 10 suited from Sunday. This is a highlight hand, getting to see a look into Hans and his game. As a pretty nice hand to complete here, right? Just nice, take a flop, very, very playable hand. Jack 10 suited.
It's interesting. I mean, you could throw some 3-bets in here. I think this hand is probably just too good. I just want to be seeing a lot of flops. It's going to be making all this as well. I was about to say, this is also the kind of hand that you want to be doing this with, because if you look at the equities here versus something like Ace King, you're just going to have so much equity, and you're going to get a lot of very good hands to fold. This is a very scary flop if you play on GG, but I mean, he's going to try and find the way, I imagine, from now.
Wow, that was so okay. Hold on a second. How many blinds? It was 20-40. He min raised and ripped it there. That does seem. I mean, that's
about
not a conventional play. No.
23, 24. I think it was effective. It depends on the stage of the tournament. I imagine this is quite deep, but yeah, it's something you can do. I mean, you're just going to have so much equity versus the Ace Kings versus the Ace Queen. Getting hands like Ace Jack off to fold is amazing for your hand, and when you do run it out, you're going to have a lot of equity. And you are going to get a lot of equity to fold, and it's a pretty nice play, honestly.
Especially if you have, Karma is a cat, the name there, maybe you have a note opening a little wide or certain things, or folds too tight. So if you start factoring in and making some exploits, and it is interesting, right? Because if you think about it, you run aces, kings, queens, that sucks. But if they have ace queen off, tough spot. If they have ace queen suited, ace king you get against, you're pretty live, as we see here. You're rarely against those aces, kings, or whatnot. And actually, that's the thing. Ace 10, ace jack, where ace 10 suited is going to open and doesn't want to call all in. But if you just call and you're dominated, if you start working it out and running through the different possibilities, it is for sure. If you were to take out of 100 times in this exact spot, a player opens, what percent do they fold? What percent do they call? What percent are you dominated? What percent are you 60-40? And like you look at it, and I'm sure again he's worked it out. It is a pretty cool play, and you are going to get a fold
absolutely.
to a high percent.
If you're in position there and you're looking down at 8s, 9s, hands like that, I mean, you're probably going to call them, but it's still not a great spot to be in. And yeah, the point of doing this is you do get the fold, the ace-jack suited as well, probably, depending on the stage of the tournament. You get a lot of dominated hands to fold, and also when you do get called, as we've just seen here, like, you're going to have boatloads of equity. And also, yeah, it might be something in game, maybe he's opening a bit wide, and, you know, you can then take advantage of that, or even exactly, if you think this player is going to be folding way too much than they should, and then when you do get called, this is the kind of hand you want to have in that spot.
Very cool. Very interesting, very aggressive, but also, like we said, not insane. Definitely calculated. This isn't just clicking buttons and, wow, he has Jack 10. It does seem... I will say, though, I don't often see hands like this where we see this type of aggression with this stack size and this thing. That's not too many highlight hands we get to witness where it is just sort of a big, 20+ blind shove in this spot. But yeah, well done. Well, I should say well done to get there and to take the aggressive maneuver, and definitely one of our big stacks who's capable to win today, as we see some other names at that table. Very tough final table. Very... Yeah,
it must have been some spin up for Dominguez as well. Just looking at Pardo's stack there, he only had 350k at that point, so it must have been some spin up to get to the FT for chip leader now.
Exactly, and that's the thing about these tournaments is that you're in there, you give yourself a chance, you put yourself in deep, and good stuff happens. And as we see a Balaev here, who also does have a win and is got a big stack, 68 blinds today, 4.5 million in earnings, and on the GG client with 700k coming here, also does have a Triton second for $1 million and another big second there at some other stops. He's definitely knows his way around live and online. Tell me about him as a player.
Yeah, another one of the, like, I'm seeing a lot of these names. These are a lot of the guys I'm just grinding with all the time, and this is what it's great to see as well, is when, a lot of the players who play all the stakes every day, day in, day out, and then they get spots like this. But yeah, very tough player, very, very good at maneuvering, very good at FT maneuvering as well. He's going to put some people in some spots, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking at second place. He looks like he's a bit, handicapped by the chip leader, but I think he might be able to, put some pressure on even as the second place slot.
Yeah, we'll get to see the seat selection. Obviously, generally, the norm is for the big stack to kind of go to the left of the next biggest, but that's not always the case, and we'll see how the lineup of the seat draw shakes out, as we do see a hand here, 4 deuce suited. Getting to see our second place stack today play, as Balaev is in the big blinds. So 4 deuce suited.
And look at this. By looking at the table, this looks like it's probably near the final table, considering there's some empty seats. So, this is an interesting one to defend. I think, you probably just want to as well, because the key important part with a hand like this is the wraparound of you making good cards of this often involves the ace, right? So when it involves the ace, and you have that future game of when, like, it can come, ace 3-5, you're going to win a lot of money because they're going to have lots to stack off with the ace as well. So that's why these hands are quite powerful. And he goes to the lead as well, which is really, really interesting and really, really nice as well. I mean, the button is going to find a lot more. It's going to be kind of a neutral flop just because of the button being able to apply the pressure. And then this is the kind of worst case when you get this hand like this, and I'd be wondering if he's going to click it back here, which would be very, very spicy.
Yeah, what a flop. Flopping the straight, obviously, effectively the nuts. I mean, 4-7 on the button opening there. Suited, I don't know, but either way, he does go for the lead, gets raised and just calls. Not the best card, kind of kills some action, makes some chops as well, but either way, still feeling good about our hand. And the best hand.
I'm not seeing this hand, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see the double lead here, especially when the raise from the button doesn't contain much forex, and we do see the double lead, which is really, really nice. Just really pushing that. I mean, so many of our leads are going to contain a 4. We're going to have so many straights. We're going to have even like some of the 2 pairs as well that's going to take this line. The double lead is like a really cool thing to find, especially if you look at the pressure here at ICM. You kind of can do this because you do kind of have a big lock on the hand. We could see the river as being a bit troublesome with the flush completer, but again, because we've double led, we do actually just have a lot of these spades, and the button might not, because the raise and the flop from the button is just going to be a lot of hands that want to realize this equity now. They can have over pairs, hands like 8s, things like that. When we get to here, if you're Balaev, you're not too worried about it. But I can also understand why you'd want to check as well, because you might want them to start, if they're raising a flop with a spade X combo, then this is obviously a great time for them to barrel off with.
Yeah, I mean, interesting now. If he gets shoved on, he is covered by a good amount. It's like, yeah, this is interesting. It's pretty sick. Go from having the nuts to, this is how poker works. You generally, it's hard to make a hand. When you do, yes, the board does change, but he does get shoved on, gets asked for all of it. This sucks, right? Because now you're kind of realizing you might be chopping, you can lose, and obviously there are some bluffs, 7-8. Some other type of some other hands here that can be bluffing. But man, this is a kind of a grim spot. But I guess
it's a really grim spot. But I think you have to, like, when you double lead as well, like, and you also have to imagine, is your opponent going to find now over pairs as bluffs? Because that's kind of what they might have to reach into. That if I have eights as the in-position player here, like, eights with a spade is a really nice bluff. So, or you could just cooler him instead.
Wow. Tell me about that shove. The backdoor flush, okay, maybe you're not worried about the four-liner there as played. Like, what are you hoping to get called by there that's worse?
I think it all turns down to the double lead, because something that does the double lead and then you check the river, you give back up the betting lead, you do pretty much have the top of your range, because you're going to jam all your flushes that have the back door. So you're going to look at something like a 4. It's kind of the best hand you're going to have in that position. So I think you do have to take it, although it's a horrible, horrible spot. And yeah, the bluffs from the imposition are going to come from some of those overpairs or single spades.
Great, very cool hand. Well, I'll tell you, that was interesting. As we see what's up, birds, good to see you. See a lot again, familiar faces. Thank you to everyone who is here, and please make sure you hit that thumbs up and get subscribed to be entered into the giveaways. 3 of those 50 tickets coming later in the stream. I will put a tweet up on Jeff Gross Poker as well with a 50 cash giveaway. But now, the chip leader, Juan Dominguez, 36 mil. 10 of those now going to be coming in the GG Millions. Just an astounding career. 4 wins, 246 appearances. Played this tournament basically 5 years of his life. He showed up on a Sunday and played this exact tournament. Pretty insane stuff, as we will see him with the ace-4 off. And as you said, was short on one of those highlight hands, kind of deep. He had 300K, so now he's at 740 and was not looking super dangerous. And he is all of a sudden becomes our chip leader. And here is one of the hands that propel him. Let's see how this goes. And I think this is the player that just ripped it, right? Was just ripped those threes as well. So maybe that was just before, right? Or just after, because I think Balaev, I'm not sure, but yeah, this must have been like maybe a change of table. But yeah, I mean, no introduction for this guy. He's an absolutely incredible player, just one of the best. And to look at that, have a 31% cash rate in an online 10K is absurd. Yeah. Now, mind you, some players don't re-enter. Oh, and this was all in. Wow, look at this. I mean, just shows you the world's best. There it is. King, queen suited, ace-4. He's got him after the flop, looking good.
He got it in good.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a slight favorite, but again, just shows you the butterfly effect there. He gets in a slight favorite, is on the way out. Needs that 4 ace on the river to stay alive, does so after getting in slightly ahead. That's what matters when the money goes in. But he's in there, and then he spins it up into the chip lead today, looking to add that impressive resume. And what does Juan Dominguez do so well? He plays in the highest stakes in the world live. He's here frequently, shows up, executes. What do you think he does better than most?
I think his understanding of ICM is absolutely brilliant, and the way he maneuvers FTs and pressure he puts on is fantastic. And I always think of a player like him, someone also like Mateo. So you play a hand versus him, and you maybe you're just like, okay, this was going to bet the flop, bet the turn, just very, very normal. And then you'll just find yourself in nodes that you just don't find yourself in against other players. You'll think you have a control over a hand, or you think you have a control over a spot, and then before you know it, you're playing like Fantasyland stuff, boys. On the river, and you're like, okay, I can call versus this, maybe I'll check races to that, and they go, but I really hope he doesn't find this size, and he just will. And that's what makes these players just...
In the guest battle, and I'll let you pick first. You have 100 units. We'll put a real dinner on it, so do your best. You don't have to, make long shot charity runs. You don't have to, make long shot charity runs. You try to win here. But I'll let you pick first. We get 3 each, and how much and who?
Well...
But I'll let you pick first. We get 3 each, and how much and who?
Well, I mean, as an outsider in the 50K and an outsider maybe from, coming from not having many chips throughout, I'm gonna go for some outsiders. So I'll start with I'm gonna have to bet on Pal. I'm gonna go for some outsiders. So I'll start. Pal, the money went in very quickly, and before I knew it, I was getting shown kings, and I was expecting to, I wasn't expecting to see kings. I was expecting to like this is a big pot no matter what. And I look around at my rail, I'm like, oh my God, he's got kings. Like, and it just feels like the whole run and everything, the story is just about to collapse. And I just turn to my rail, oh my God, he's got kings. Turn back to the table, and before I know it, I just see the queen in the window, queen on the flop, and I literally stood next to the dealer, shouting hold. And I'm kind of disappointed no video of it because I am shouting with all the will of my life the word hold. And before you know it, he's in shock, I'm in shock, and I'm second in chips. And we actually end up heads up, I think, a hand later. So from that moment to seeing the kings to getting the chips pushed to me, I mean, it's not something you prepare for, but it was a absolute like roller coaster. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Fair to say you're probably good to the ladies, right? You're nice
I
gentleman.
mean,
That was
I'll never complain about having the three ladies in my life or those trip queens.
There you go. There it is. All right, fair enough. So all right, so good luck to him. Good by you picking him first. Second pick, how much and who?
I'm going to put 30 on Jeschka. I think he's a name that I've seen around a lot, and someone that I think is kind of due in one of these fields. And I think he's got like a stack that if he can navigate that kind of 60 bigs, he could definitely be a threat for sure. So I'll put 30 on Jeschka.
Okay, nice. So second one there, good pick. I'll go with Badziakouski for what I do 50, 30. I'll leave myself 20 for my third pick. Who do you got for your third one?
Well, I mean, I was going to go Badziakouski, but I'll go for the long shot. As a grinder and a guy I played with probably the most out of this, AD, I'm going to put 40 on AD as the shortest stack and root for that spin up.
Wow, nice payout if that hits. All right, my last 20 is going to be on Zlotnikov, who is, I believe, streaming and took second to Ben CB and is a fun player to watch. So that will be rounding out mine. We definitely left. There's a chance someone wins today that is not listed, as we left a couple of the favorites there out, but we are everyone in the world who is watching. We have ourselves a very, very exciting stream and a player who is maybe one of the hottest in the world right now, winning two of the. Was it back to back then? You won?
Pretty much back to back. I played one tournament in between and then, yeah, back to backs.
Wow. Okay. There you go. You're on fire. And the booth, as we know, does bring generally a heater. It helps. I don't know where you go, as I said before the show from here, but we are wishing you future success. We will make sure everyone gives you a follow. Tell them where they can follow you on socials. What are your IG and X handles?
So I'm at Dwan Jamie on X and at Dwan Jamie on Instagram.
Okay, there you got it. We are going to take a very quick break. We'll be back. We'll do the seat draw. We'll get everyone situated, and we'll see a winner today with no deal making available. And, of course, the 4 giveaways, 1 on X, 3 for the keywords. Must be subscribed, must be thumbs up. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Jamie Dwan joins today as we will play to a winner. And again, there is no deal making. This is the GG Millions final table. This is a big one, 400K two first plus that 10K seat, a little more than that. And we are in a very fun spot as we see the table draw. Jamie, I don't know how familiar you are. I think you do play online, so you know how this goes. Tell me a little strategy in the seat selection here, what you're able to do as a short stack, middle, and the chip leader. If there's anything I'm missing other than try to go to the left of the biggest stack.
That tends to be the way to play it. But also, like, if you have a lot of notes on players as well, and maybe you think that someone's going to be more aggressive from a certain position, then you can kind of play a little bit of future game of, like, if I'm the shortest stack, that if I double up, maybe I want to be looking at my position once I've doubled. If I'm already short, then maybe you want to be playing like to be thinking ahead, and a lot of these players will be doing that. They would have already worked out where they should be going. If this happens, if that happens, they want to be thinking through every scenario. And yeah, it's normally just to the left of the chip leader. So maybe if you think someone's particularly tight, blind on blind, and they cover you, a good idea to try and be on there, or if be on their right. If you think they're gonna under defend, or they're not going to react correctly out of position or in position by maybe that's something you're going to be looking into. So all these players would have definitely looked through a lot of this already. They would have run the sims. They would have worked out the best way of doing it.
Yep. Well, we are seeing that go on right now as we do get towards the bigger stacks, and V Buldygin is going to pick his seat. We see Badziakouski has got the puck as it stands, AD short and in the small blind. Not a bad spot to be if you're short, right? The small, you avoid the big, plus you get the button next hand and you just pay that small blind. So actually that's a sneaky place, I think, is kind of a cool place to be. As
that tends to be the way. Like if you can't get that Jesus seat, go in the button can never really be that bad.
Yeah. And now Juan gets to play where he doesn't. So he takes Makita and he's going to go to the left of two big stacks. That makes sense. Han's also a tough player. That seems like a dominant seat, kind of lined up nice with that row of talent and stack sizes. Of course, Zlotnikov there in purple streaming does stream and content. He is a beast, and he is going to give potentially maybe play back at Juan more than some others might in this scenario. But let's see how it goes. First hand underway. AD with 7 short as Hans with king queen off is going to open, I'm sure, with 3 mil. It's got 60 bigs, and Juan Pardo not going to play the king 5. Now here's a decision. It's one of the big stacks. Opens first hand. Do you make a stand? Do you rip? Maybe get folds, possibly flip. He is going to go for it. So going to step in and commit himself as Hans with a nice hand, but against that, just not good enough to try to. Really not a lot of great scenarios there to be flipping usually at best, if not dominated. So he does get out of the way. Nice pickup for AD. Gets the button, gets the first hand. Dream start for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like my pick is starting to already chip up. So it was a good one.
It is a good start. I do want to say hello to the audience again. Let us know where you're watching for, if you have watching from, and if you have a question for Jamie Dwan, he's fresh off that 50K high roller win and also another tournament. And we are seeing again a lot of familiar faces. Appreciate everyone, and please don't be shy. Say hello. Keep an eye on the chat as we are going to see a Juan Pardo Dominguez flat with 9-7 suited. Is that standard? That is not normal. I don't say on here. And the GG Millions.
I would say this is really nice, and this is the kind of thing that Juan Pardo does so well. Like, this is definitely a hand you can throw in there. It's going to have a lot of like unblocked around the opening range of the hijack. So yeah, this is like a very nice kind of chip leader-esque thing you can do. I think a lot of people imagine that you have to start 3-betting, applying pressure, but getting in the mix with hands like this, where a lot of your outs are going to be unblocked around the other two, is a really nice spot to take a flop with. And yeah, there's so little pressure that the stacks behind can do that this is a really nice flat, I think.
And talk about interesting board. You got Queen 9 dominating him. Actually, outflops him currently, but 5-7 suited with a massive flop. Combo draw, straight flush draw, straight and flush draw, and does go for the call. Blocks 7-8. It could have gone raise there, no, but I guess just also ICM and stuff to play a huge pot in this spot. It's a pretty congested board. Yeah.
You don't. Yeah, it's not something you really want to be. Going with straight away, especially as a stack that is still, covering 3 others. You don't want to suddenly start going for it. And also, you can be, it looks very pretty, but if he has dominating diamonds, you're going to look in pretty bad shape. And it was interesting to see here if he found a lead on the 9, which I think you probably could do if you're not against the chip leader, who does have a lot of this 9x covered, like the Jack 9 suited, Queen 9 suited, hands like that. And obviously it has a 9 here. This is going to be very interesting on the sizing he takes and also the reaction here, because I imagine Juan's probably going to think about sizing up here. And with a hand like 7-5 diamonds, it feels illegal to get to fold, but also like it's not that fun. He finds a really cheeky check on the turn as well, which is very nice, because I think now if you're Paulius and you're in this position, you're gonna feel like he's gonna be stripped of a lot of 9x, and but a little bit gonna be worried about the hearts, because a lot of the heart draws are gonna check the turn as well. But you're sat here with your 5. You might have just had a little bit of showdown enough to check, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a time that you want to start putting some pressure in it and bluff the river here.
It's such an interesting run out too. It really is. It is just so much going on. It's a dynamic board. You're against the big blind range. It's multi-way pot. Wasn't heads up. Like flushes miss. Jack Queen misses. Jack King. There's other hands in there. You got to start thinking, what is Juan flatting? 9-7. So you don't have in your bingo card probably normally either. So like this type of hand, but there are some 9x, and Juan definitely a very strong hand. Blocks the straight. Really only in his mind is going to lose to kind of backdoor flush, I think, at this point, right? I mean, he's got a value spot here.
Yeah, I think probably just the fold for Palias here. It could get interesting if you want to raise here, just particularly facing the check on the 9. But it's going to be a lot of the backdoor flush draws here as well. And with diamonds, that's what he's going to be more centered around. He's obviously going to think about it and like, yeah, you have to start thinking about like what are we beating? Are we beating the king jacks, queen jacks, maybe under pairs that turn into a bluff? But I think very rarely just have enough showdown and probably wouldn't bet the flop. But I think if you're Paulius here, you can probably think that I probably have better hands to call with it. I still do have a 9 a lot if he hasn't led the turn, which you can't really do this with the chip leader. But certainly he might have just got out of jail here. I mean, this is why we're talking about like checking the flop, just calling the flop instead of raising, is because, we've ended up here with a pair of 5s. This is not really the spot we want to be going for all of it. But certainly an interesting hand in terms of, is he going to be finding a lot of these king jack, queen jack combos? Maybe even some like ace-8 suited hands like that maybe not enough. And he has called, and he's going to see a very sneaky 9 on the turn there. I think it's probably a fair enough call, especially with the 7. The 7's very important. Obviously, blocking all the straights and having the diamonds as well is very, very important.
Yeah, the cool hand. There were a lot of based on his range and flatting and how the hand played. I mean, there's certainly a lot of missed draws there. So that is can't blame him for playing. And it looks like Juan came to play. He's debating to get it. He started flatting. These are not normal hands. King 8 suited to flat and open. I mean, he's really showing us he wants to play post flop, and this time he will get squeezed out. But
he will. But this is exactly what I was saying in terms of like finding these lines and putting people in nodes that they're just not familiar or comfortable with. Yeah, because I think most players would look at the king 8 suited and be like, but from his perspective, he's just allowed to apply the pressure. And look, he gets squeezed on here, easy decision, and he just gets to keep doing things like that.
You know what's cool about that too? If he's so tough, he's so smart, and this isn't just like I'm feeling loosey goosey. This is a plan. So I would imagine he's probably going to mix in some traps more so today a little bit too. Maybe if he's flatting, these people start seeing the delay. Oh, he's flatting like all these hands. He's playing all these hands. He's aware. He's not just going to do it all the time, but when he has that 800K shove stack, or there are spots where he knows he's probably playing a little more than normal, I think that that's probably an adjustment he'll make. Is there's a chance he does mix in some really nice strongest hand traps. But let's see how his strategy progresses here as 7-5 suited does pick up some outs as the king 6 checks back. Makita knows that though, right? That with the this hand has played, that he's probably going to have something to not just
absolutely. I mean, this is also a really nice raise to find from AD here. Like, these are the kind of hands you want to be opening off that short stack. The kind of suited king X, suited ace X, like has a lot of blockability versus the 3 bets. And yeah, again, great start for him. He's picked up a few pots here, and he's got a nice one there as well. This would be interesting to see about what we find, if we're finding the limp or the open. I think if you're Badziakouski and you cover here, you're definitely going to be finding the open. It might look trivial that he's tanked here with 10-5 off, and then found the raise, which might look insane, but makes a lot of sense. These are the kind of hands that you want to use to like be very polar in your isolating range, and because you're just going to get so much to fold, and you have that kind of high card, low card, middling board. Because you look at a board like this, like, he kind of smashes that isolating range as well. And it'd be interesting to see how Badziakouski proceeds here. I mean, he has so much backdoor equity, so much going on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a check raise here. I think a hand like this is probably something very nice to find a check raise in as well. He goes with call, which also absolutely, he's just going to have the best hand a lot here. He's going to be very disappointed if he calls down twice and sees he loses to a 5. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff you get to do in position, and especially blind on blind. You are allowed to just open and you're allowed to just ISO so much because there's so little they can do about it.
Yeah, getting the tweet prepared, guys. It's going to be a $50. I'll put the link in the chat. $50. Just retweet, tag a friend. Guess who wins? And Jamie, you can retweet that if you get a chance.
Yep. So just go check river, and yeah, I think Badziakouski won't be surprised to see a hand like this, but obviously very frustrating when you have that much backdoor equity on the flop that he might have been a little bit disappointed he didn't find the check raise on the flop. But we do have a big collision here with the 2 shorties, and it looks like, I mean, if Zlotnikov finds a flat here, then he might be a man after my own heart because it'd be a very cool thing to do, although it might be very face up. With ace king off, I mean, you're already hating it facing the 3-bet here, but the Zlotnikov's the kind of guy that you can't do anything about it. You put the chips in the middle and let's see the river.
Wow, kings to ace king. This is a big one. AD, can he find it? Can he get it? 9-9-3 safe board for Zlotnikov. The king is going to seal it. DD, GG, and the ace.
And the ace.
Oh, that's just, come on, man. That is really wild. The case king and the ace. It would have been a little more dramatic the other way, but that's still sick. And Zlotnikov slightly covering, going to take it down. Give me 1 second here. My son is my 3-year-old. He can feel the chaos. He wants to watch, but you guys hear that or no? Can you hear that?
I can't hear anything, no.
You can't hear it? Oh, there's some wildness on the background. Give me a second. Bear with me, please. There's the aces. Call it through.
Yeah, I mean, straight through. I mean, after that collision there, I mean, we're probably not going to have a big collision here. Jeschka could find some 3-bets on the button there, just applying the pressure. It looks like it's probably just going to go check small bet fold. But yeah, that dynamic massively changing there with the short stack being out. Zlotnikov now with a very middling stack, actually getting way up there. Badziakouski just wins a small one, but I mean, you'd be hoping for a little bit more after that. But yeah, it massively changes the dynamics here. Zlotnikov doubling up because it makes it even more congested. And with the 1 short stack gone, and my pick, of course, but it massively changes here how things go. And also just notice there, Paulio's following the 10-8 suited. It might be a hand that you want to be opening in non-ICM for sure, but you want to have the blockers. So something like that King 6 suited opened before is way better than something like 10-8 suited or the 10-9 suited, just because you have that blocker against the 3-bet that down the streets is going to be a lot easier to play with. I mean, Dominguez here kind of has, because he has the chip lead, he can just float these hands a lot because it is going to be against this like kind of ace high range so often that he can kind of be like, I'm going to float, and what are you going to do? Interesting on the queen here. I think this is probably very split on on what we want to be doing here, because also the queen is going to hit Dominguez a lot, especially when he has so much of the 2-pair coverage and the king X coverage that maybe this stack doesn't. So it feels like it's high card, you want to be barreling it, but it's maybe not always as good as it seems. He does go for it here and gets it through. And I would be very surprised well, I'd be very interested in the river strategy for Juan Pardo should it go check, because like a hand like 5s is maybe something you want to start bluffing the river with here as well.
All right. Very cool. Fast start. Got a knockout. Zlotnikov has got some playing chips. Juan Pardo going to have to deal with him a little more on his left. And we see he has been mixing up trying to play. Tell me about your cutout. Like here to defend 10-3 off, of course, not a playable hand, but how I do see a difference in opinion on how wide, what is sort of your cutoff, or how do you decide how wide to play? Is it more about how late the position open is, if you're covering or not covering, how aggressive? Like, what? Talk me through your big blind defense sort of strategy in these spots.
I think there are obviously, there are the solvable ways to do through it. And I was just as we see this as well, this is also very interesting. I thought this might happen because a hand like King Queen off in this position from the hijack is got such good blockers to be able to put pressure on. And also, if you're Jeschka, like it's a nasty spot to try and navigate, as we see here where he flats queens, which makes a hell of a lot of sense because it's not really a hand you want to start just getting it in with. But yeah, that big blind defense is like it's going to be a lot more blocker based, a lot more suited base, and also hands that can realize equity quickly. Um, Obviously 10-4 off is going to be way out of there, but there are definitely some of the offsuit hands that you want to be even three betting more than defending. And you'll see that especially with these players being so good, they'll find a lot of those, and also they'll cut out hands that you might see as oh, this has got to be a defend, but actually they'll look down on how they're going to realize equity with said hand. This is going to be a very interesting hand here on the paired ace board because Balaev is going to have so much ace x as the three bet that we might not have because we can fold some of our suited ace x, and also like our ace x is kind of strict because some of our better ace x is going to want four bet. I imagine now we have a pretty clear value bet from Jeschka, but if it goes check, it could be very interesting for sure.
Yeah, because it's a great point. And from Jessica's point of view, with the queens there's not many. Queen king is like queen king off, these type of hands that are three bet bluffs. Like there's not a ton, right? It is comes a lot from the ace x, and then if you block king queen, it's like I mean, there's a some, but not a lot. And he happened to have king queen, so it could have got dicey. But ultimately, a nice pot from Jeschka, and Balaev just decided maybe this isn't the guy to mess with, and I just don't want to tell the story. So he did get out of the way. Would have been interesting how it worked. A lot of big pairs flying around here. Big pot energy going today as we are
Aces,
still
queens, kings,
eight-handed.
ace, king, yeah.
Yes, yes. It is a playing fast. I mean, it's been again, this looks like an action table. I feel like a lot of people here just
Certainly
willing to go
does.
for it, are willing to make big bluffs, and I think we're gonna have an entertaining day. Again, thank you to everyone watching right now. Got over 1,000 on, man. Jamie Dwan is in great form, took down 2.2 million in a 50K, 26 years old, and also just was in. Tell me again, we talked about in the pregame, how was that 15,000 person event? Extra bonuses for cashing GG qualifiers. It was a crazy deal. You played in it. How did it feel? Was it sort of like a victory parade? You just win
Oh,
2.2
absolutely.
million, you're back home, people are coming up
Absolutely.
congratulating, you see your friends there. Tell me about the event. Where was it? And tell me some other bells and whistles about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Goliath Festival has been on every summer. It's always like it's probably the biggest UK festival of poker. So it's like a lot of people get there. You see a lot of friends you don't see in a while. And of course, I couldn't miss up the opportunity to fly straight back there from Vegas and do my victory lap, see everyone, show everyone the bracelet, and yeah, it was really well organized and just a great vibe everywhere. Everyone, it was a good festival of UK poker, and it gives a lot of confidence of like how alive the game is. To get 15,000 entries in a £200 tournament is amazing for it to be that much up top, and then the support of GG to try and grow that and make it easier, and people having this bonus as well, which is amazing. I mean, I think someone who got third gets an extra 20% because he bought him for GG, which is just incredible and a great incentive. And that festival is going to go from strength to strength. I wouldn't be surprised if you see numbers there bigger than something like even the Gladiators or maybe even the Colossus in America. Like it really could go strength to strength, that tournament. It's in Coventry. It's a great location because it's right in the middle of the country. So it's very easy for everyone to get there. And yeah, it will grow and grow that, and it gives a lot of confidence on the health of UK poker at the moment.
That's awesome. That's great. No, it's all it's really cool. And just clarify, so if you there was a bonus incentive if you cashed or you were it came through a qualifier, is that what it was?
Yeah, so you can either satellite in or buy in directly from GG. It's the same.
Yeah.
They had a 1K there as well. Same with that. I believe the 1K, you get a 10% boost on all cashes. So if you just min cash, you get an extra 10%. If you win it, you get an extra 10%. And then for the Goliath, it was 20%. So even if you get a min cash, you're going to get 20% extra added to your GG account. And then some people, I think at least 3 or 4 of the people on the final table just get an extra 20% as well, which is just huge. I mean, I think someone will end up getting an extra 30K, 35K just from having bought in on GG, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So it's slowed down a bit here in terms of the big hands. There's had a lot of walks, but maybe everyone's just trying to, relax a little bit after the chaos that's just happened. Interesting spot here if it comes up with Jeschka and Van Pardo. I mean, this could be a hand he could find three bets with. And I think if Balaev was deeper, might be finding the 3-bet himself. Now covered makes it a little bit more tricky. But there is definitely potential for some fireworks between these four with these holdings. It might not look like it, but there are definitely hands and some blockers and unblockers that could make this very interesting. And there you go. It's interesting to find this. I think he might be thinking as well that, I've just 3-bet him before, had king queen off. He's not going to give me credit for it again. And then a very interesting spot for Jeschka. I would not be surprised to see 4-bet. It's a hand that you will be okay to navigate post with, but it's just going to be very difficult on the ace-high board. So when you make a hand that makes top pair, you're not really loving calling down, it's not great. And this is kind of the power of using that ace-5 off, is you just get ace-10 suited in the bin because of the construction of the table.
Yeah, I wonder how much goes into play that he sees the king queen show it down there before it didn't go for it. Maybe gives him a little bit, to Balev's credit, that he sort of went the other direction, right? Maybe use that in his advantage to be aggressive right away after with the modest holding. But we're seeing some, again, guys that go for it. King Jack gonna defend and gets a nasty flop here. Top pair versus second pair, both sharing the same strong kicker. So this could be some chips in. I doubt, a huge amount, but yes,
all cheering
definitely.
for the offsuit king turn just for some fireworks.
That could be gnarly. There is a action card there. The 7 pairs the board. I mean, gonna make Zlotnikov feel probably a little better. It's a brick, relatively speaking. If he was good, should be good. As a no spade, no straightening cards, no ace. But at the moment, king queen, probably feeling pretty good. There is some 7Xs in for Zlotnikov. And I'll tell you what, though, this is a big ask, this price here. I think, if you call, you got to realize you're going to face potentially a big river. And he doesn't think too long about it. Makes a nice fold there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as well, because I think that size is to kind of shut down the higher equity hands. And also it's going to gain some value as well. But I think he's also reading a lot into the fact that Zlotnikov snap checked the 7, which might be a card he might think about leading sometimes. So he might be just taking advantage on that using the bigger size. And a player like this, who's, Balaev, a very accomplished player, is going to be balanced on both sides for sure.
Yep. Fun final table today. Got to say, I am very curious how this is going to work out. Who's going to get to hoist it, the trophy here as the 4.8 million stack of Juan Dominguez. He knows this is not a cakewalk final table. I mean, you look around, there is firepower everywhere and people that are willing to kind of battle. So I think, this could go any which way. At the moment, he is with a healthy lead, but everyone's in striking distance. There's no short stacks now, as AD took a nasty cooler, as he will go out. But 1.4 million, look at how congested it is. 1.4, 1.5, 1.9, 2.3. Then you got 2.4, 3, 3.4. So it's tight. I mean, it is. There's no
Very
short
tight
stack at the moment.
And it's very interesting. Well, it's all on one side of the table, that if one of these people like doubles or wins a big pot, they then get to act as a kind of the other side of the table wants to act as, and they will be in the thick of it, surrounded by the short stacks, where they get to apply a lot of pressure. So there's a lot of future game in being that person. At the moment, it's Badziakouski, but Zlotnikov picks up some chips. He can apply a lot of pressure once it falls to him in later position for sure.
And Queen 9 Jack for us hand won't get too exciting, but I know what the chat wants, what everyone's talking about. I want to see it. I love a nice bracelet. What you did just win, you did just get it. You have your bracelet handy, because that's a real bracelet.
I have it here.
Okay.
It is a real bracelet. Here it is.
Nice. That is
There it is.
It feels a little better when it's a 7-figure bracelet. Like if you were to make a stat 7-figure bracelets, it's hard to win 7 figures in a bracelet. So that's a real one right there. That was a true bracelet.
In all its glory. But yeah, it doesn't feel real yet. And even though I'm holding it and I've looked at everything multiple times, it doesn't feel real. And yeah, I'm looking through the stats as well. I mean, it's very hard in a tournament to win 2.27 million. I mean, with the rise of Triton, it's become a little bit more of a thing. But I was looking through it. This is the 35th highest first prize paid out in poker history. This is it's very difficult to win that amount of money, and it still hasn't felt real. It doesn't, even though I've looked at this maybe every day since. But yeah, here it is, and it has not left my side since. It's been sleeping on the side of my bed every night. I've obviously worn it multiple times, But yeah, it still doesn't feel real, and I don't think it maybe ever will. Particularly the amount, and yeah, it being my first bracelet in my first 50K in the biggest shot I've ever taken. It's incredible. Like it fails to really set in, and I don't think it will for a long, long time.
And talk to me about. I looked at your Hendon Mob, and we were talking before, but you started. It looks like 2020 is your first live recorded in February, right? For like 100-pound tournament that you cashed, I think, or whatever. You have some min cashes. You have really not a major score. You took in 2023 a 25K score third at the 500K, Grosvenor UK Poker Tour, but you don't really have like. I'm just even looking now. I mean, did you have a 6-figure score? I don't believe so before that. A
Not
76K score.
live. No, not
So that's
live.
pretty rare to go from a never having a 6 into a 7-figure score. But like, I mean, even July 5th, June, you had a 55K score. You had a couple 2K, like 10K, 12K scores into the 2x2. So what was it to play that buy-in tournament? How did you actually find
Yeah.
yourself in there?
I mean, I'm a big online player, so I mainly play online, and I've grinded a hell of a lot on there. But live has always been like online is where you make your bread and butter, you make your wage, you make your salary, and then live is always a bit of a lottery ticket to kind of cement yourself. And like I've always had a bit of a chip on my shoulder that I've played a lot, I've got a lot of winnings and stuff online, but it never really happened for me live. And I always thought it would come. I did not think it would come like this, and the extent it did do. But yeah, I ended up playing it. I woke up one day, I played the Satellite night before, didn't work out, and then I was going to play the 3K, and I saw the 50K, and I was like, I could. And I end up selling half, so I had half of myself in the 50K, which is the most I've ever had of myself in a tournament dollar-wise. It was a maybe irresponsible punt, but I just kind of felt myself and really wanted to go for it. And I thought, it's the end of
Nice.
the series, we're already winning. Might be a good time to go for it and end up in it. And, to cash it was amazing. Would have already been my biggest score to cash it live. The final table, it was incredible. To go on to win it doesn't feel real. And it's one of those things. It's like sometimes, shot takes, they do work out. You don't just lose a flipping level 4 when you're out. I mean, sometimes they can actually happen, and it's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Uh,
It's an amazing
yeah.
story. I'll tell you what's also amazing is your guy you battled with PV opens the queen jack off, not a mandatory open on his stack size, but he doesn't. And Mikita Badziakouski passes the ace 4 suited. Jacks wake up, and now Buldygin has a real sort of decision. Look, he's got tier 1 ace king suited. He's not going anywhere, but he realizes this is potentially his tournament, right? There's a chance Balaev is strong here, and obviously, and he is. So let's see with jacks what to do. And
Yeah,
these
this is very
reminds me a
interesting.
bit of last week with queens to ace king. We saw queens, 4-bet, 3-bet, and then got 5-bet and folded. I mean, jacks, like, again, if you're against ace king, this isn't a great spot. It is a lot of your chips. You do still have 1 million. You do have that going for you if you lose here, right? You still have 1 million, which is enough. So I don't know, maybe it's just too good, but it's tricky. I guess
It's
there's
one
a
of those
worldy
spots
fold.
where like all options are kind of fine, and you really now have to think about the player you're playing against and the dynamic of the tables. Don't forget the small blind is 3-bet a short stack, and yeah, I'm not surprised to see the fold because if you look at the dynamics, this is a short stack opening, so we're already going to have a pretty tight range. We 3-bet him, being whole 4-bet by a guy who covers us. We're looking at some very, very narrow ranges there, so not surprised to see the jacks fold. As much as painful as it is, it's this is the kind of play of we're doing here. They're thinking about this at every aspect. The short stack opening, the fact that this range is going to be, and the fact that the big blind is going to be aware that he's covered and can't really do this that much. Well, maybe he looks at it and thinks, well, he hasn't been overdoing it. He hasn't shown down the bluff. So maybe this is just a hand you want to fold. You'd much rather have ace king yourself than you would jacks, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the 50K, it's just an insane thing that's happened, and I still don't believe it. Every time I wake up every day, I still think it was a dream, and the way it went down as well, with me being short throughout, and then I started heads up as a 5-1 chip deficit. Like it was crazy. It's an absolute dream. It's like I literally got to live the poker dream, and yeah, just incredibly blessed for it. Interesting here. Pardo on the 4-liner when it goes check on the turn might be just thinking I have a hell of a lot of 10x here that's going to float. I could push a lot of my my 10x advantage here. Because maybe Badziakouski not opening too much of the 10x. He definitely was thinking about it there. And it's quite an interesting one to go for.
Yep. General rules in poker too. When you have nothing, it's nice to bluff. When you have a little showdown value, it's sort of more incentivized to
Pretty
check back.
much.
You do hard to make a pair. So there, everyone had a little something, nothing too interesting. Badziakouski, maybe the most decorated, storied player here. Although Juan Dominguez is doing quite a case for himself. I think he's regarded to as online, maybe plays more frequently. Badziakouski, I don't think is grinding online particularly frequently. Maybe Sundays and hops in this
Yeah,
and
I
some
think
other
I
stuff.
tend
But
to see him in some stuff like this, and then maybe like big Sundays or big when the high stakes stuff is on. But I mean, both just absolutely brilliant players. It's interesting here what you want to do with the ace queen because this might look like a hand you want to three bet with, but you also got to remember the pressure. And that's what I was about to say. The flat is a very nice option here, especially if Jeschka's might be opening a lot of the ace X. To be able to dominate post is a really nice spot to be in.
yeah, this is going
I
to
mean,
be.
this
I mean,
is
it's too close to call for me today. I don't know. There's too many tough players. I think Juan Pardo obviously like his seat, most chips, but this is really wide open. I see this going any which way here.
this
As
is what
Queen
just
10 and
tends
Ace
to
Queen
happen
battle.
in tournaments as well. That like Juan Pardo has the seat, the stack, but he hasn't really necessarily had the card distribution to even go for it, even like on the cusp. And that's what can happen.
Mhm.
You can be chip leader and be dealt out. He's going to find a lot more than a lot of others are as well. But like you can sometimes just feel like you are a little bit dealt out there. Um, Interesting to see we have like who's got the more eights here, who's got the more deuces. I imagine it probably just goes check check, but might be tempted. But yeah, I do think I do now have one of the funniest hendons of all time of just a slew of kind of middling to low to middle stakes and just out of nowhere this insane 2.27 million, which it's just makes me laugh every time I look at it. Interesting if Buldygin wants to go for the river here. I think with check 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 check, you probably can't reasonably represent it, so he does just go check check, yeah. And I imagine it will just fall to Pardo here, who's again finally got a hand he can actually apply some pressure with. Unfortunately, no one behind him has actually got anything really to do with. Palace has got a very close defend here. The solvers are going to like this kind of high card, low card suited variety. And sometimes he could use as a three bet, not in the stack sizes we have at the moment, but he's definitely going to be thinking about if he can defend this one and go with it. And yeah, I would not surprised to see that either. It definitely is one of those ones where you're a little bit frustrated because like if I have 30 bigs, I can definitely take a flop here, but with his stack size, it's going to be pretty hard to navigate post, especially when Pardo is still going to have pretty much all the suited Jack X as well.
Yeah, this is again. I'm a little curious. Like, what do you think the overall reason that 9-7 and the King 8 though the King 8 suit even more so in worse position with sort of a that hand even scattered more, right, disconnected, but it is King high flush draw. Like I will say that's very unusual. That's not something I've typically seen here on the GG Millions.
It's going to be as well that Pardo is going to just factor in that he's going to probably have a post flop edge a lot as well, and also he's just going to have a lot that folds out behind him. This is I was interesting as well with Zlotnikov, but yeah, he's just going to feel like he's going to have maybe a post flop edge that he's going to navigate with these hands a little bit better, and he's going to make some good he's going to make some good 5 card hands going forward that he can apply pressure with, and also just like be able to navigate to realize his equity more as the chip leader because he's going to face a lot less pressure from others. And from ace king off here now, I think you're probably just going to see jam. Zlotnikov dropping the 6-7 gift there, which certainly one of the hands he could three bet with, but he's going to see the bad news that, or maybe not. I think he's just making him sweat here. I'd be very surprised to see that one called off. Yeah.
All right, ace 10 suited. Buldygin gonna be playing, and again, I love doing these because it's cool to just see the distribution of cards. You start watching enough, you start getting a better feel when anytime you see live or online where you get to get you feel for it. Like, how does it work? What hands are playing and how do people play mid pairs in certain positions? How often are there coolers? How unlikely is? I mean, look at even here. There's ace 10 suited, ace jack. Like, even someone to have a hand to play with. Oftentimes, you just don't have someone to battle with, and being aggressive, being first in, 3-betting spots, like you really do get to pick up pots, and it pays to be aggressive. A lot of these guys too, the stats, you get to kind of see what they're playing, how they work with short stack, big stack. PV, how would you pronounce his last name? Vaidekunas.
Yeah, let's go with that.
He's here he goes. He's off of a sub 20 stack. He's got the ace deuce suited. You definitely need to have some opens where you don't have the most premium hands. This should be a spot where, although Buldygin is going to be aware that 10-9 suited, he is, oh man, that is an action flop. GTO Wizard going to come in and get involved here, as it says to check. And this is actually says bet large on this. You do have the over nut flush draw. You're not really scared of anything. Tell me why you might bet large instead of a standard sort of 20% or smaller bet.
Yeah, I mean, especially with a hand like this, but I think it's going to have that kind of coverage over the King X as well. But with a hand like this, you kind of just want to push your equity. You want to be able to get those 7s and 8s to fold. Now I imagine it's going to probably like a check, but yeah, it's going to be, because it's supposedly such a tight range that's opening. That's going to involve pretty much the top end, and then hands like this, the suited, maybe the King 5 suited and the Ace 2 suited. It's going to want to be able to push its equity and also realize its equity now, while also denying things from the 7 and the 8. Very interesting and amazing lead here on the turn, which is really sexy, because yeah, the 6 does change a hell of a lot. Obviously, it's easy when you have, the 10-9 suited, but like, it's going to change a hell of a lot against that big bet, or the size that he chose. But yeah, this is a very nice play, especially you want to be like find the lead, say, with the hands that unblock, that aren't pairs, because you are able to kind of go against those ones, and this now is probably going to stop the action, I imagine. But it's very, very interesting and very intuitive lead. I think you find with that type of hand, because yeah, the 6 is such a board changing card in terms of facing versus the large bet as well. And I think this is probably just going to go check. I can't imagine. Oh, I'm wrong. The wizard's right. There we go. Yeah.
Man, I got to say, the ace deuce suited there. What a board for that. Pretty unlucky. I mean, there was a magic card. The 6 came, wasn't a diamond. He could have just won the pot had ace high, doesn't get it. And yeah, again, guys, apologize. I'm on the road, so I'm traveling at the moment. I have my laptop, and I'm getting the giveaways queued up. I got the tweet up. There's a lot of moving parts here. So again, don't mean to miss. We also just want to remind you, we're not following the chat, but we do have it up. I do try to catch questions here and there and do have it in, but I got to say, very, very cool to have a first-time guest, Jamie Dwan, who just had some great success, join us, and is a obviously up-and-coming crusher who has been playing. But to your point, you said you do play online. When did you actually start diving deep into online? When did you start playing online poker?
I mean, I think first time I played a poker really was about 5 years ago, and then from the second start of COVID is where I started to pull a lot of volume in. And then kind of from there, really. So let's say the last 3.5 years, I've been playing a lot. The last 2 years, I've been playing the bigger stakes and kind of grinding that. But last 2.5 years, I've been really hammering the volume and really going for it. But yeah, I play a lot online. I mean, if anyone knows my GG name, Chandler Ping, I'm often in anything and every time. A lot of people log in at random times, they'll see me in something, and yeah, I mean, I love the game, and I love the grind, and this is why it makes it a lot more special with the bracelet and everything. Is nothing is deserved in poker at all, and it's definitely not something as a wild as what I had happen, but it's a nice maybe reminder to people who are grinding that if you do put the work in and you do grind, occasionally good things can happen out of nowhere. And a lot of the success I had in that and going in other stuff is just because of the amount of volume I put in and the amount of work I put in. And even on the final table, the 50K, I was looking around, I was I probably played more final tables than anyone here, just because I played so much online. So I'm gonna have so much experience in that regard. But yeah, for me, online is always going to be number one. I'm now going to play a lot more live. Going to go play some bigger stuff here and there. But online is still my first love and my true love in poker, definitely.
Amazing. Yeah, it's definitely great practice. It's cool with what's happening with the I mean, guess mixed what people think, but with the tells, showing how people look, and then all this different stuff. Even GTO Wizard, we saw them today pop on. It's also showing, here it is again on Q as we see it on the WSOP coverage as well. So kind of interesting. I think at first people are a little intimidated by it, but at the end of the day, this is what's happening. People are studying their solvers. They're just giving recommendations, and it's interesting to see when the best players follow exactly, or they deviate. Maybe they don't know on the spot, which is, again, there's so many spots, or they just are exploiting or doing, mixing, as we see here, A7 King 10 suited, and as played, this is following along here as the A7 will check, and Balaev now is saying to either check or some of the time go for a bigger bet. And I'll tell you what, that would put a lot of pressure on the 7, but this particular A7 is unblocking a lot. So he does go the bet large. And now this is actually, so it's interesting. It still says 100%. Maybe is that just because he doesn't have spades, doesn't have 8, 9, 10, doesn't have some of the blockers in the spot.
Yeah,
it's
and he has some
call.
good implieds as well on the ace and the 7. You're probably very clean out. Yeah, I mean, it's also on that point as well about like maybe people deviating or maybe not doing what the whiz says. These players and the 10K FT like that, there'll be a reason behind it. They'll know the theory fully. But the reason they're doing it is because you guys check here, but yeah, I mean, it's because the way to win at poker is to know the theory, all of it, and try and deviate to exploit. That's where you make money in poker. Is like if everyone just plays the same strategy, obviously no one's really going to win. But the best players know the theory at the back of the hand, and they'll know I should do this, but because of this guy or because he's done this, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And that's where so much of money in poker is made now.
Yeah, I will point out that Hans, who has kind of eaten Balev's lunch so far, typically your experience, my experience, and how it works is the player on your left will beat you. They should just kind of beat you because they have the position and you're in those blind on blinds. You constantly have the best spot. So you should normally kind of get outplayed or sort of beaten. And of course, runouts and situations happen. But today, Balaev had the queen king off, didn't get the trigger pulled. He did get the ace 5, 3-bet through, got ace 10 suited to fold. But then the little battles, I think Jeschka's kind of got the better of him so far and has chipped up, and they've been battling a fair amount. But again, that's typical. If you do get on the left of a tough player, just in general, the player on your left should be, giving you a hard time, and it's hard to win big pots off of them, as we see Vida Kunis here now on a very vulnerable stack, ace 5 suited, going to go for the min raise, and no one with a huge hand. The ace 10 off, it's starts getting close, right? But it's sort of tricky because you don't really want to
probably just find the fold here.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting as well, like how there's like hidden run good as well, because a lot of these players have, he finds the 3-bet, which is, I mean, he's kind of just punishing the fact that Valius here has had so many opens and folds that he's kind of like, like, come on, mate, you're doing it again, aren't you? And he's going to put him to the test here. And it, again, if he finds a jam, a man after my own heart, and I really hope he does, because as we said before, this is the guy that I won the biggest part of my life against. I'm kind of rooting for him big time now to get some heat. But what I was saying about the kind of like, I think he is. I think he is. I think he's now going like, I know I've been opening a lot. I know I've been folding a lot, and he finds the call, which is interesting. That is interesting. That is something I wasn't expecting to see. And imagine we'll probably, it depends what kind of price he lays here with the deuce of diamonds doing a lot of work on the float, but I imagine we just see small bet fold. But it's very interesting how you're going to construct this flatting range. It's going to be pretty nutted a lot and then mix some of this in there as well, I suppose. And he might be tempted to float again with the deuce of diamonds on the board, but it gets a very dicey spot, not a spot I'm familiar with for sure. I mean, if I was Palaeus in this spot, I might have just found the rip just because I'd had been opening and folding so much.
Yeah. See, it's hard to get creative here. He floats. Wow. So yeah, this is kind of, this hand's getting a little bit out of sorts for him, not going as planned. This is not good. Although, is there a world? I mean, it's what, 480, 750 in the middle, ace 10 now. Although ace 10 can't feel great. A lot of the hands he's going to be beat by as played here.
It picks up the showdown as well, that it might go check turn and then be a very interesting river. It's interesting to see what kind of rivers that Palaeus might bluff with here, but he also just, I mean, it's hard to see a world in which he's really good. Um, Again, if he finds a jam here, that's very spicy. But I think, and also, I mean, maybe Palace's range here is going to have some ace queen off as well, and kings, jacks, maybe not jacks, but like maybe some of that, like ace queen off is conceivably a hand he might have flatted here, that floats a flop and turns. But like, he
Wow.
finds the jam.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, this is crazy. And this is,
Wow.
man, hand of the day. Really, really finds a creative way to win it. And very cool hand. Very, very cool for many reasons. I mean, he just,
Crazy
wow.
hand.
Great
That's a
hand.
crazy, crazy hand. That's a fascinating hand. To see the flop there with his hand and if you told me, he's gonna win this hand somehow, that's crazy. Wouldn't be surprised just to see open jam here from Pardo. This is the kind of hand he might want to do that with. He also just could open as well. Yeah, he does just go for the jam. Just got some good blockers. Zlotnikov's gonna do this thing that he likes to do where he just makes him sweat a little bit. Um I wonder if he's balanced with that. I wonder if he's got kings, he's doing the same thing, but
He seems like he's got a wide range. I think he would have fun. I think slow like a when you're it's not really a slow roller there if you're covered significantly and whatever. But yeah, they're having a good time. And again, ICM huge Marco Perez PV there with similar shorter stack even. And I don't think Zlotnikov's afraid, but he's definitely knows that he can't call off super wide. Probably going to fold some decent hands there as we see a king queen for Makita going to open suited a6. It is under the gun. Me getting a little extra credit. Bullion and then eights there for PV. A tough hand to play. Small blind out of position under the gun range from.
imagine this just goes in. But I mean, I imagine the ace-5 suited wouldn't have flatted pre, so who knows? Who knows? I mean, this is the thing as well against the range of Badziakouski. Badziakouski's going to be fairly tight here. Look at the stacks behind him. He can't be opening that wide. Like, I don't even know if he's going to be opening like sixes in this spot. Like, he's got so much pressure potentially behind him. He does just to fold as well, which I can understand as well with the range that Bads has got to open. Like, it's not love in life. If you get called, you're never ahead. Yeah, you're going to be dominated a lot now. And this is what a point I was trying to make about Pampardo. A lot of these guys have run quite good that Pampardo hasn't had the spot to apply the pressure yet. So they've kind of been picking up chips that maybe should be going to the chip leader just because the chip leader is being dealt out, haven't been able to do so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Got a few friends in the chat and a few new faces. What's up, El Juliana saying hello to Jamie, the chat, and myself. Good to see you. See some great play today already. We've seen a highlight hand that ace-5 was very, very, very well constructed. Got the better hand to fold and found a way out when it didn't look like he had any possible way. Queen 9 suited, Queen 10 suited here. And Makita, always interesting to see what he comes with. He's got plenty of creativity and kind of keeps you guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I was interested to see if this was going to be a three-bet or jam. I think he might perceive that Perez might be a little bit on the tighter side, so maybe you don't want to be jamming, especially if it's going to be a tighter range. Obviously, he's got the better hand as we can see, but like he's probably imagining that by three-betting the small blind there, you're going to get quite a lot of equity to fold that maybe in some other respects should be going in. Now, this is going to be an interesting clash between the two. I would love to see a flat from Perez here, but I wouldn't blame him for a lot of the options here. Goes to three bet, which is pretty nice. I think this is pretty nice. I think I would prefer flat, but this is like a very good hand to be doing this with. I think the king queen suited and maybe just folding the king queen off. Bullion is going to be opening fairly wide here in position. You just again see the bad news. For Perez's sake, I hope he finds a fold, but he looks like he's tempted. Yeah, real traffic with those three stacks there that are really plonked in the middle of the two of now the four deep stacks. I mean, Buldygin is really catching up with Dominguez now, and Dominguez has just kind of been dealt out in terms of the pressure he can apply from this FT. So this is what happens in final tables sometimes. It's like you're the chip leader, you want to apply pressure, but Juan Pardo knows he can't just do it for the sake of it, and he has to, you know, have good hands to use as well. Zlotnikov with the fold of Queen Jack suited under the gun, which is pretty snug, but I think I can get behind it a little bit, especially opening into these stacks. You're just going to be finding yourself with so much pressure ahead. And also, you're going to have two possible reshove stacks behind you as well with Perez and Palias now. Goes for the big size there on the 3-bet, which is really interesting. I think that's what you want to be doing in these kind of setups. You don't necessarily want to be giving them price appeal when everyone's so deep and there's so many short stacks behind that using those big sizes. I think a lot of people miss that as well. I imagine Paulius is now kind of hating the fact that he knows he should open here, but he's had so many raise folds that he's almost like, oh, they're not going to give me credit again, are they? He has such a middling hand to do that with.
Yeah, all very interesting hands here, all different types. The King Jack suited so powerful. Ace PV really has stepped out. He's been opening a lot of pots. Although King Jack suited, you start thinking, man, what's the risk reward here? He's short. He's gonna call. Interesting. Very interesting.
I think because he's had so many of the raised folds as Palias that like it's probably quite a nice time to now find the flat. A board that Buldygin is going to imagine favors him a lot, and it is. And interesting how you're going to navigate the ace-8 suited here. Obviously top, but there's going to be some traps from Buldygin on button as well, especially with Zlotnikov short with a stack that could possibly rejam. Like he's going to probably be flatting his aces and kings in this spot as well. Now the question is he gonna find the raise? Is he gonna just call? Is he gonna jam? I think jam makes the most sense. And again, chips back up from that spot before where he had 400k behind with ace high on the river and found a way to win. He's now 3x that, and he's right back in there.
Yeah, he has battled. He's had an exciting 20 blind stack right now. His chip graph has been a bit all over. He's had to be creative and had to earn it. He definitely didn't get any gifts and wasn't just short and doubled. He's battled, played in there, put it on the line, made plays I think a lot of us would not. And he got it done there. The H5 suited stands out as he has been spot on. Marco Perez hasn't been able to get going. He is now down to about 12 blinds here, and here we see Mikita Badziakouski again. Timing, you said it. The guy just gets no wrong. Sure enough, under the gun, yeah, King Jack suited, good hand, but 8-handed, no problem, no customers. Got 8s to fold last time when he had King Queen off, so he's just kind of slowly chipping up. No one's really got his way.
He's a scary man to be coasting because before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got 5 mil, 4 mil, 6 mil, and he is again just sort of moving on up as Hans gets queens. The ladies have been out today. The kings, we saw aces, and we've seen a ton of big pairs as we see another reasonable matchup, 7s. And honestly, Zlotnikov, he's showing patience today, but at some point against the chip leader who's active, you have a suited ace-4, definitely could argue to get involved, but he's sort of let Juan do his thing. Juan with a reasonable hand there. He's going to open way wider than 7s. Has a playable, legit hand hovering on that 5 mil marker. And queens again are in the big blind.
And I imagine from everything else that Palace is going to find another open here. And he's going to be up against queens in the big, which I'm sure he's scared of looking at queens for what I did to him with him. So, although I am massively rooting for him because it seems fair enough that he, has a big score here after losing such a ridiculously big pot versus me in that 50k, which, yeah, I'm sure it probably was the biggest pot he's ever played as well. And yeah, it's I feel for him massively because if that was me, I wouldn't be playing this right now. I'd retired myself for a while.
Yep. Well, so what do you get for 4th? He's still got like 700, $1 million, something like that.
740, I think. Yeah, third was $1 million, and then second was 1.5, I think. I remember we played heads up for 700 with no deal, which was an interesting experience.
Who was that against? Reza?
Reza, yeah. I was a 5-1 chip deficit as well starting, which was. It was some task, and there was a lot of ups and downs in that. And it started. I had 20 time banks heads up, and he had 2. So there were some very interesting hands that got played later when he ended up having no time banks, and I had loads where I was able to. I mean, there was one I played where I shoved a river instantly over his bet, knowing he had no time banks bluffing. And it will probably still always be my favorite hand of poker I've ever played. But that was took a little deep breath before I did that one. It was a
Oh,
big relief when I got that through, and of course with the rail behind me, and I had to show it as well. So unfortunately, I did have to windmill that one in his face. There's no
that's awesome.
disrespect to him, but it had to be done. There was 70 drunk Brits behind me. I had to, had to please the crowd.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. Well, speaking of time banks, there is a chess clock here. A really nice adjustment that is made by GG, and what I think is kind of moving. We're going that direction with the built-in clocks. As you see the payouts there, 74K going to be for 8. Top 6 going to get 6 figures, 406K and change to first, plus that 10K Bahamar GGWSOP seat, the GG Millions in December in Bahamas. As we see, a little bit of a slight cooler for Zlotnikov, and I can't hate
Yeah.
shoving, right? 21 bigs and change is at 22 bigs.
I'm
I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's
I
an awkward
imagine
one.
he's trying to shove, yeah. And then it actually almost like an awkward spot here with the ace nine off. Like Zlotnikov's probably going to be taking a lot of the dominated ace X here as well, and he kind of has the stack that you could call off here. I think I actually had a spot that was exactly this on my FT, and I ended up folding it. It was ace nine in this exact spot, and it's really close. It is really close. I think ace 10 suited, you've got to run it. Ace 10 off, you probably do have to call, but a hand like that is incredibly close.
Yeah, game of inches, and still some. That's the beauty of it. It's even if you're behind, you can still win. So Zlotnikov wouldn't have mind to run that in that exact spot. Although he is also happy to pick up that 3.5, 4 blinds for takes it down. And wow, powerful hand here. Look at this, 4
Yeah.
very pretty looking cards, and Juan gonna call. So ace king suited in a big advantage. And here we go, top pair, top kicker versus a gut shot. Good flop, and saying to check here. You're out of position. The 1 and 2 stacks at the table, right? So you also do need to be very tight in general. But talk me through this. Why is that 100% check?
Yeah, I think you do just want to be playing a lot of pot control here. And on the king highs, I mean, we saw Juan Dominguez flat the king eight suited before. He's going to be flatting a lot of his king X as well. Like even his king queen offs, like his king king suited, he's probably going to use as a flat. So yeah, it's not an amazing board for you. And also, you do want to be playing a lot of pot control. You don't really want to be inflating this pot that much out of position. And I think this is shown here by the 100% call. You might think, top pair, top kicker, let's put some money in now. But because things like this can happen, there are so many worrying and scary turns that you kind of just want to be playing a kind of check call down line here as well. Also allow Juan Pardo to maybe value put himself here with his king X. If he's going to have the king 8 suited before, then he's going to have the king 10 suited that might go for double barrel. And you're going to be wanting to get the most of that without inflating a massive pot. And I think, as I said before, with someone like Juan Pardo, he's going to find some weird nodes. Maybe we don't want to be putting ourselves in those weird nodes. Maybe we want to just win the pot, win as much as we can, but not find ourselves having to play a potential 7 million, 8 million chip pot at this stage for sure when there's so many shorties behind.
Yeah, that was certainly not a brick on that board. The jack of spades on the turn completes some of those. That queen 10. There's other hands. King jack is a possible suited hand there. There's the spades, obviously, that bring in a bunch of cards. But as turn played, he is going to elect to disregard the GTO wizard recommendation and bet mid. He goes check. Maybe lost some value there, but at the end of the day, again, very important pot. He knows that to be at 4.1, he is fine for the chip lead. He's given Juan Pardo some respect, and he also knows that he can get put in the blender and maybe just decided to. He's got some check calls, wants to play differently. As we see the shove, sheds the threes. Ace 6 though. Makes
this is very interesting.
Turns out to be a good fold in that spot, and he's understanding he's going to be behind sometimes, but he actually does just get out of the way, and he is saying just one time as we're going to see a mystery hand and a king jack there. Going to open for Balaev, as we will see potentially our first very, very much a mysterious hand going, and Juan going to come in, and this is actually a lot of fun. Again. We talked about this.
This is a lot of fun, yeah.
Traps, and here we go. Here he is there. He has a wide range. This is a tricky one to break down. Sometimes we get a super special with the GTO wizard paired with the mystery hand blind, but we're not. We're just going to get to go pure here and see. So King Jack flops a pretty clear check, like feeling good, but also there's problems at times, and
Yep.
let's see if Juan's going to make this a big pot. Starts with the bet. You
And
already
also
know
a
if
hand
you're
that's just
Balaev
going
here,
to
you're
be,
buckling up. You're buckling up. You know
yeah.
you're ready. You could get in some weird ones, but you can't fold yet.
And also just like a hand that you know, it's going to be the king as well. It does block a lot of the queen X as well. And the jack blocks a lot of the queen X as well. That is going to be a hand that's going to be quite nice to kind of like check call down. Again, not one to inflate that pot at all, especially when we know that Juan Pardo is going to have a pretty wide range here. And also, we're really hating that spade because of the suited nature of Juan's flats. Now, this could be very interesting. If we think he has traps here, and we think he might check some queen X. I mean, I would be going for value as Balaev, but and this is one of those nodes where, you know, I was talking about the death size and the one thing you don't want him to do. If we bet here and Juan gets busy, then we are in a world of pain. So now he's kind of, I think he's kind of thinking about his overpair advantage. He obviously does have a big overpair advantage. Juan Pardo it does have a queen X advantage here and a flush advantage. Does a flush go for value, raise on the river? Probably not. But it is very interesting here about what kind of hands is Juan considering here. Is it going to be, is he considering the raise for value with a flush that he checked the turn with? Which I don't know if he necessarily does. Or is it just simply like he's got eights and he's just in a spot now where it's like, are you going to be betting enough ace highs as bluffs? And am I just good? Also, if you're Juan Pardo, what about Jack X? I would not be able to surprise here if you see Jack 10 that's gone for value on the river and gets another Jack to fold as well. I mean, he's definitely thinking about something out of there here, I would imagine.
Is it just a 1.8? Is it a shove here? I mean, do you just puke? Is that what
That would be
how important is it the jack kicker, like if he has Jack Ace versus, you know, Jack 10 and to go for an aggressive play here? Is it just to block, like, because yeah, obviously you're more worried about like losing to kings or aces if you're, you know, if there's that hand and a queen. But I it is a mystery hand. I'm waiting for something super
I'm waiting for
spicy.
something as well, yeah. I mean, there could be many different things that are going on here as well. I mean, they're like, it comes down to like how much queen X is going to bet on the turn, or is he going to bet flushes on the turn. The fact it goes check check makes this a really interesting. If anything happens now from Pompardo that isn't call, and he's found raise, and like, I mean, God, if I'm Balaev here? I mean, you now really have to just think about: is he raising the nut flush of value? Probably not. Is he flatting aces and kings behind? Probably yes, because look at the stacks behind him here. Look at the 1 million stack, the 500k stack. You know, he has a pretty nice spot to flat. And then you're thinking, well, is he going to be like, maybe he's checked like aces against a spade on the turn, or like how much queen X is going to find the check on the turn because it is such a wet turn card. So, I mean, this is a very grim spot for Balaev, especially if it just gets turned around and he just has a jack as well, and you just, you know,
Right.
chopped yourself out of value.
I want your opinion first, and I'm gonna ask the audience out loud if we can get Balaev to buy us a little time on the clock. Let's see, but let's go two different things. A number. So let's say one is that he calls, right? Two fold. Okay, so one or two, and then A or B. What do you think he's beat? So A would be he's beat. B means he's not. So give me your 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B scenario out there. I think personally, I think Balaev is. I'm actually lost. Usually I have a strong opinion. I have no
I'm
clue.
lost. I'm lost.
I think he's gonna. I actually think he is gonna call, and I think he's beat somehow. That's even though I don't know. My head is warped. Juan is so scary, man. He's so tough. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in the blender. I'm in the blender here. But
This is exactly what I said. Like, this is the one thing you don't want to happen in this spot. The one size you don't want to see. Because again, he's also not put them all in as well, right? Because he's left him some behind. So almost so that can play into it as well. I think he's going to fold and be beat. Yeah. I don't. I mean,
actually, we should throw in a see. It could be a chop. Could be a chop. Wow. So we're gonna. All right, yeah. Don't highlight that one. So he called and he was not beat. Juan with some real treatment on the time bank. It does feel scary. Hats off to Balaev there. Sick hand, and Juan is no longer in charge. This is a Balaev and Buldygin are in there, and Juan's actually in fourth. and sort of back
Yeah,
in the middle of the pack here. So crazy hand. Sixes turns
crazy.
into a bluff. Nice call. Nice call there.
That's not a hand I thought. I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, this is the thing. He's kind of right by bluffing the sixes because he is bet against the exact value of hand that he's targeting, and he's just hoping that he would that Balaev might consider the fact that he has an overpair advantage. We're going to see. Is this going to go in? Yeah, this is
Oh
going
yeah.
to go in here.
This is the chips are in there. He's going to get a flip situation. He's not dominated. By the way, I should have had a C option. There should have been three for the chopping, right? Which was actually a very
Yeah,
strong possibility. So it was either does he call yes or no, and does he is he ahead, behind, or chopping? So there could have been more. But anyway, thank you for those that participate. PV taking a little bit of time, RNGing, getting it set and ready
yeah.
for. Is there? I guess I mean Perez is short too. Is there a world that he doesn't put it in? I don't think so. But he is
Absolutely.
actually
I
taking.
think
He is
there is a
thinking.
world. There is a world here. When you half stack for a reason. And I think in this reason you probably have to take it. But a hand like ace jack off is, you know, he's against the best case scenario here, right? Um there is a world he does find it, but this is I think the problem with half stacking a lot of these spots is when you do this, you get yourself in extra mess when there are times you should just die in poker tournaments. And like you can half stack because of the stuff behind, and of course they all know that, but this is like the nasty spot now, right? You have to kind of work out, is he ever gonna find a jam that is a bluff, right? He has folded as well. I mean, yeah, that's when it gets nasty because you do have to. The reason he's tanking is like because I've half stacked. Does he then ever jam, knowing I can sometimes fold on the half stack? So that's when you get in some really big weeds. I don't tend to do it just because I think you can just drive yourself crazy and get in these spots. I've had some on some FTs this year where I've just done that and got in some really nasty spots post. We are going to see a collision here. And I am rooting for Palace to hit this 9 or a nice friendly check down, maybe.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is not how he drew it up. He would have been flipping for what to have 2 mil? Was it half his stack? He had 500 left. He would have had over 2 mil potentially if he wins. If like
And
for this
he's
board, for example, and now he needs a 9 and 9 only, or we'll be down to 7 on the river. Is it slow? Is it fast? It is a
yeah,
fast 8, and that is not great because PV will bow out there. The GG golfer claps going out as we see Makita. He's just ahead. He just holds. He's just
just
in there. Got him
slowly
crushed.
there. Yeah.
Finds a nice spot, 3.1 million. He is cruising. Seven-handed poker. Juan has lost some of his chips, still in there, and we are going seven-handed. We'll take a look at what is at stake for the champions of who can win and repeat. So Juan Dominguez 4 titles, V Balaev 1, Hans Jeschka 1, V Buldygin has 0 titles, Makita has 1. PV is now out. He had 1 prior. Marco Perez is in there with 0. And Zlotnikov has no wins, but does have the second place in the main event last year. He has that going for me. He played Mr. Ben CB heads up for I think what 4 million to first, so somewhere
Yeah, huge
maybe
one.
3 million and change. A big score for him. So he's done very well. He's got himself a huge score online, but he is looking for his first glory here as we see another Balaev. I'll tell you what, Jeschka, man, they are tussling, they're tangling. Ace
They
eight off.
are.
He maybe just gets out of the way. He's seen the ace 5 at this point now, and it is kind of a meta game at that point. The delay, the 40 minutes, they got it up. They're knowing what's going on. He knows. And sometimes you just gotta maybe. Is it better not even to watch sometimes, or do you always want the information? Probably better to have the
I
info, right?
think, yeah, I mean, it depends as well. It really depends on like how you're feeling as well. Do you feel like if you see things, are you gonna react well to it or badly to it? I know the 50k FT for me, I was completely blocked out. I didn't want to hear about any opinions of hands. I didn't want to talk any hand strategy because I was like, the player I am at this FT is the player that will finish that. I don't want to start getting in the weeds and start changing things, especially when it's a big spot. For some people, and it has in other times for me worked well, where you want that kind of not learning on the job, but like knowing as much information as possible. For sometimes though, I have found that I just want to be like, if the player I'm playing as now is the one that's going to play, and I'm not going to try and make big changes because you can also just level yourself and then you take it into account of things that maybe you wouldn't have taken into account before. That changes things. I know for me on the breaks of the rail, I was just like, don't tell me any hands. I'm not going to tell you any hands. Like I'm playing as I am.
Yep, I think that's a great way to do it. I also, in my experience, you can get consumed in it. Start like it's almost like, yeah, I got something cool. Someone's telling me I have an advantage, or I kind of know something extra, and I'm following along. But I do think in a vacuum that is more distracting, and generally won't work out. And then you start leveling yourself, and because they don't know if you've seen it or not either, right? So then it's like they assume you saw it, maybe you didn't, maybe it even works to your advantage by that way, and they're overthinking it. But either way, I like that, and I'll tell you what. Zlotnikov here on sub 20. He's got that weak ace. He jammed last time. This time he's going to open, and Makita out of position with the dominating hand. However, see what he's going to do with this 1.4. So again, if he were to jam, he'd still have like 2 million if he somehow lost or plays back here. And it is a
Yeah,
very strong hand.
Yeah, I think you just find jam here. Although he has to be mindful of the fact that Zlotnikov has opened the button into a very short stack in the small blind, so he has to go to trim that. Like, he's the range that opens a button is going to be tighter just because it's going to often be up against a very tight, a very wide range in the small blind. But I mean, big clash here. Perez trying to find his way back in, and he's going to see one of the best hands he could possibly see in this spot. And this is for him to get back into it. He has been kind of being pushed around a lot. So he's going to see, I mean, it is GG. So I imagine there'll be at least one spade on the flop, or it just comes this.
Wow. Kings is only 72% here. He's got to fade the jack or the spade. River card to come. And it is clean.
There it is.
Clean. That was
a very GG poker run out there.
Yes,
that seems very apt.
Not nice or spice. That was a spice.
Never
flop.
just comes ace, deuce, ace, no spade. It has to have, at least a bit of the gut shot and the nut flush draw just to go with it.
That was a real sweat for our friend, but he did dodge. I actually got to see. That's a good question. I got to see last week who won. There's a chance I did not pick it. Listen, guys, I'm on vacation. I'm on the road. I will go through and check. I might not have picked last week's winner. Thank you for letting me catching that. It's possible. I am going to. I'll select that winner. I don't think I did. Good catch there. Who was that in the chat? Alek 25. I will get that. So we'll have two winners. I'll pick one for this week. And next, all you got to do is retweet. Guess who wins? Tag a friend. $50 cash. Jamie Dwan on socials as well. You guys can, what's Dwan Jamie, correct? On the
Dwan Jamie, yep, on everything, yep.
On Instagram. Let me see the IG. Yeah, we're live. I'll put some out there. I'll put a story there. Which are you more active on? And do you do any do you do more on one or the other?
Probably pretty equal. I mean, I do a lot of stories on my Instagram, so my Instagram's probably the one I update the most. Twitter is mainly just for random ramblings or other findings on the way, I'd say. But yeah, Instagram is probably the best way to find me. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put this. Let me see, Jamie Dwan.
Somehow the handle at Jamie Dwan was taken. I don't know who this other Dwan is. I mean, I've it's a very rare last name, so it was very weird to see there's another one.
Interesting. That is and what are they active? Do they have an account or no? Is it just there?
Yeah. I mean, it's very odd. I mean, it's actually the way I found out about poker was because of my last name. Obviously, because of Tom Dwan. It's actually the only way I know poker existed was because of my last name. And I actually got to meet him about 2 years ago at the series. And I spoke to him as like, I'm a Dwan. And I'm like, I've never met a Dwan I'm not related to. So we ended up chatting a little bit and we ended up naming family members until we could find a connection. And we did. There is a very distant relative. As I said, yeah, never met a Dwan we're not related to. And I now actually hilariously have more bracelets than Tom Dwan, which is a fact I will continue to dine out on.
That's awesome. That's where he took second, right? There was like a huge
there was the big prop bet thing, yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
but I mean, the next stop is to overtake him on Hendon's, to assert my, as you could say, dominance, as the prime Dwan. But yeah, it's very funny how we've ended up both. It's literally the only way I ever found out of the game was because there is no one else with the last name Dwan who's even partly known. So that's my backstory of me getting into poker is simply just having the last name Dwan.
That's amazing. Then he was. They say never meet your heroes, but was it cool to meet him? Was he a good guy?
It was really cool, and also the fact that I went over to him and said, and he immediately named Tipperary, an island, which is where all the Dwans are from. He went, Tipperary Island. I was like, yeah, and we immediately was like, oh, we actually definitely have a connection. Then there's definitely. I said to him, have you ever met a Dwan you're not related to? And absolutely not, because I think there's about 300 of us in the world. It's a very rare name, so it's very odd that we're both in the same scene. But I mean, I'm only in it because of him, I suppose.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, let me pick the winner from last week. Okay, got that. So I'll do this week then after the show. You guys can still get that out. Plenty of time to retweet. Guess who wins? Tag a friend. Have some fun. 50 cash and then 3 giveaways for the $50 GG ticket. We'll have those keywords once we get down to 4-handed, 3-handed. You guys can go ahead and get ahead of the curve. Hit that thumbs up and be subscribed. All is free. 1,500 plus watching today. Again, Jamie, a guy you'll see more of playing. And any, have you secured? So you'll come to the Bahamas. That's December. That's WSOP GG. Are you any other like live stops you're definitely playing in
Yeah.
between the circuits?
So I'm
Anything?
off to Cyprus on Thursday for the Onyx
Oh,
series, which we're
nice.
really looking forward to, and then going straight to EPT Barcelona. And then I'm probably going to be heading to Canada in early September to go play the Super Circuit Series there and actually grind the World Series online from there. So straight back on it. This is the first non-poker holiday I've taken for a long time, and I'm itching to get back on the grind. So, yeah, Cyprus, then Barcelona, and then yeah, I'll be going to Canada, play some of the circuit ring stuff there. It looks like it'll be huge, and then also get on the online grind, try and win bracelet number 2 online this summer, this autumn, which will be a lot of fun, and I'm very much looking forward to getting back on that online grind for sure.
Awesome. Well, this is definitely a potentially big pot. 7-8 suited. Got some nice back doors to catch up. Doesn't do so. Ace-8 firmly in the lead. Queen says for a mid bet. These are the two chip leaders tangoing here. Doesn't go for a bet there. Would have think the queen's a little bit of a brick, but decides to go for, keep the pot in order here, as the 3 of spades could slow things down as well. 7-8 actually suggests to do the betting himself. And I believe if that's the case, that'll just be a pretty quick call and we'll move on. If
Yeah.
not, then Buldygin has a decision on what he wants to do. But he does check. And this is actually saying to bet mid now. What do you think about the turn there? Would you have preferred to see a bet there?
Yeah, I think I would have preferred the bet with the ace A, especially when we block some of the ace high floats. We also the hands that continue, we want to get value from now anyway. But like I think there is a world here where it gets very interesting on the river where he does bet, and Balaev could find a very interesting bluff candidate. Now it that doesn't happen, but that's something that definitely could. But yeah, I think I prefer the turn bet. You could even you can set yourself up for nice 3 streaks of value on a lot of bricks. Very frustrating final table here for Juan, by the way. Like came in with a big chip lead and kind of got dealt out. Went for that pretty heroic bluff. Finds himself again just being dealt out. He's gone from the big stack to like never really being able to apply that much pressure. And the time that he did, he got looked up. So very, very, very frustrating final table for him for sure. And now this is an interesting spot if you're in the small blind, because I think you could give Zlotnikov credit for finding a lot of like raise folds here. And this is maybe a hand that you want to put some pressure in by 3-betting the small blind for sure. Doesn't this time, but
Zlotnikov is definitely, I think, he's got the streaming, or he does stream. He's got the purple tag. He's creative. People know that, but he's been pretty in line today. He hasn't really
yeah.
stuck himself out. He's done a decent job with not getting a lot to work with. That he's down to 7. He's still sitting on just sub 20 blinds. Marco much shorter. So I think his goals are pretty clear right now. Outlast Marco for the moment because he's sub 10 blinds, and then go from there. But again, he's not afraid. Like he's not going to miss a pay jump and take a spot, but at the same time, he doesn't need to be a hero and just put himself unnecessarily at risk when someone is over half the stack as the shortest. So here we go. King Jack Bullion. And much better seat now for Buldygin with Dominguez much shorter, half stacked, and things have turned. So King Jack gonna open. Juan gonna respect that with a very weak hand, and Marco can't do much with 3 high. The dirty diaper. Aleks is asking if I can talk to GG to help you run better. Well, that I cannot. But as our friend here, Jamie Dwan, will tell you, keep showing up, put in the work. Stuff happens quick. He just, next thing you know, he's playing a 50K, gets 2.2 million score, lands in UK, wins the 70K for a 2K buy-in, and the heater is real. As things happen quick, you got to show up, put in the time, effort, energy. Good stuff does happen. As threes in the lead, although that's going to be an unlikely board to get to showdown and hold up here. A small bet should do the trick. King queen suited got nice stuff going here. Got the lead on this board here, and 7-handed under the gun. Very small, right? 100, 120, probably just does the trick. Does put it out there. And threes. I mean, look, Makita, very experienced here. He understands that could have the best hand, but he also just says, hey, that's not the one I want to start. Call one and just hope to hold on. So he does get out of the way. 10 jack suited for him in the small, and some real hands. No premiums, but some spicy, some fun ones. Ace 10 suited.
I imagine we find another flat here. Yeah.
Yeah, the interesting part with it's now this script is flipped. He is covered, although he knows that VB is going to be opening actually super wide as the chip leader too. So he's got that going for him, and maybe even considering 3-betting, although he does. And wow, this is interesting because nines is a very good hand for this scenario. He just got the chip lead. Does he want to flat? Does he want to rip it? Does he just get out of the way and keep his chip lead? This is, again, all things I could see being possible. Although flatting would have been the one I thought maybe a little trickier. 30 blinds, just enough, and is saying to either check or bet mid. GTO Wizard, and Ace 10 suited gets the flop he needed here.
Yeah, I mean, this is it just like it's such a frustrating spot from Pompado to be in, to now have this like pretty low SBR on the flop already. And it's very interesting, by the way, the Wizard likes sometimes a lead from the opposition caller, which is really interesting. But we think about it, because when we continue on ace highs, our ace high is often going to be better because we're going to not necessarily have the flats with the suited ace X post. Also very interesting we find the check here in position with Pompado. But yeah, I don't think this is the case because Pompado is one of the best in the world, but like it does feel like you've just been trying to get something to go, something to happen, and then like, flatting a lot, and then we find the 3-bet. It's almost like it's so hard to like scale down from being the chip leader to like being a mid stack again, readjusting and like readjusting your 3-bets and readjusting what you can flat, and like having to change gears massively. And if anyone can do that, it's obviously him.
Well, as it stands, if he does get a check, I mean, almost certainly Juan Pardo don't, unless it goes like bet jam. This is going to be his pot saying to bet small or bet mid, and either way, he's going to have 3.8 million, barring a bet and somehow some crazy shenanigans with a bluff. But so back in it, 3.9, he's basically tied for second all of a sudden. Again, he's right back into a great spot, and he's got a nice seat lined up against the two VBs, as a matter of fact. A little confusing. Balaev and Buldygin, two tough players. JD there over there, and he is going to see. Is he debating to bet at all, or is he definitely betting? He took some time that other time when he was bluffing, maybe a little balanced time bank stuff happening here. He's thinking.
Yeah, I think he'll be a genuine tank and also just balancing as well. Like he's just trying to work out the sizing here and like, what he wants to use. This seems about right. It says 100% fold. You could find a world in which there is a lot of favorability perhaps with the out position here, but I imagine it's just going to fold, and then he'll pick up a nice one. I mean, you never know. We've seen some fireworks already. I mean, these two have been going at it. The Balaev and Pompado have been going at it. You never know in these fields. Like, you never know some of the lines these guys find, and also you don't know the history between these two players as well. We don't know what was happening on day one between them. There might have been a hand very similar, and all of that takes into account at this point.
Yep, does take it up. I mean, he does have some bluffs, but
I did so much nit checks today, he said. And it's Perez. Perez is just going to be in here, and he's going to get it through. Gives him a bit more life. And unless, yeah. Was there anyone you were rooting for in the WSP final table?
You know, Greg Mueller, I was involved with him in a FTB Mueller with 3Bet Clothing. Pretty cool crew, like way back, like 2012, 13. You know, it was like Esfandiari, Jason Kuhn. Congrats to him, just in the Hall of Fame. Great group, Brian Rest. There's a bunch of guys. I think it was Ben Tollerine, and you know, it was fun group. So I got to know him a bit during that time. I haven't caught up with him in a long time, but that's like really the only person I kind of know. Gags as well. I remember him playing. I played with him sometimes. Seems to be a nice guy and had a lot of success. But I really, this is one of the years where I don't have anyone that I'm like, I can say that I know well, or that I have like a strong feeling for. Like a Fang, is it? Well, he seems to be a character, right? Interesting. I got to respect that. Seems like it's an absolutely audacious play, and it either polarizing, either a legend or absolutely out of, just a completely nut job. He seems like more of a legend, kind of fun and cool. I will say I'm least engaged. This is a gnarly flop too, the 3-8 here, although 10's probably
This
not
is
going to be a
interesting
huge
because
pot,
this went limp free. So Badziakouski limp free here, which does make this very interesting. Interesting use of the limp as well. I think it's pretty nice to use. And yeah, it does get out flopped. Gonna be surrounding a lot on the Queen X as well, that Rampardo's gonna be raising for value against the limp range. This could get out of hand here, definitely, because we're probably gonna see a bet on the turn, and then there could be some fireworks on this river depending on the run out for sure. Tens maybe quite a nice hand to call down with, unblocking a lot of the bluffs, a lot of the 4-5 backdoors, 4-6 backdoors that Juan might use as a check raise, and goes meaty on the turn. I think we have a continue here, knowing that some of those backdoors and those bluffs on the flop are going to continue. And maybe because Juan Pablo now is starting to polarize his range, like maybe he doesn't use his size with some of the weaker Queen X. So it's going to be pretty dicey spot on the river for Badziakouski here, because he has started to polarize already. And I imagine we definitely see a call, and then depending on the river, it could be very interesting. He does fold. Wow, some fold that. That is some fold. Giving
There's
Rampardo
really
a lot
not
of
many
credit
bluffs
there.
there, though, right? It's such a dry board. It's like, I mean, I guess
It is, but also you could start using the kind of the backdoors, flush
Jack 10, Jack
cards,
9 suited, some
4-6,
hands in there.
4-5 off. I mean, we have full range, right? So like it could be a lot of things. You could even I mean, I don't think he does with the sizing, but like he could bet an ace-8 for value. I doubt it with the sizing, but like, yeah, I mean, some fold to find there. And I think now Zlotnikov is gonna be all in. And
This is actually, look at these hands. Look at that PLO hand there. Queen 9 suited, King 10. Sixes are drawing dead against that if it was like call. But as it turns out, snap fold, of course. Queen 9 not going to call. Now, King 10, the price, you start talking about
This is
Bob
close.
Barker, and maybe he's a fan of that. You got an extra four. There's 487 in the middle. You're calling another million to win, what, 2.4, 2.7? In
Yeah,
there. So
this
you're
is very
calling
close.
a million to win. Like you start thinking about hands, even ace queen off, ace jack. You're like fine against. You are again Zlotnikov, just getting it done. Good for him. 1.7 million. He's gonna find it, and he is on. That is a few. He did not want to get called by that hand, and it is again a new ball game here. And 5-7 off. Juan Pardo gonna give it up. And 8-9. I mean, is it just he is gonna
Just a
stuff
jam.
it?
Just
Doesn't
a
even
jam.
think
And
about it. The
Perez.
risk premium, the lowest. Perez, jack high, best hand. That's the reason. The power of that. You do get those type of weak, better hands to fold, and if he gets called, he's still live. And Marco Perez wants to call, but he can't, using the Greg goes all in emojis as we see ace 4 suited now, gonna min raise.
It was
And
interesting to see if he was going to find the open jam there from button, which might be an interesting spot to do that with. I think you can just raise as well, though. Potential candidate for a 3-bet from the big blind. I don't think so, but could be thinking about it. Obviously has to be aware that Zlotnikov is opening into a 5 big blind stack. So again, the ranges are going to be a little bit tighter here. Because the button often can't open as wide, knowing he's probably going to have to call small blind off quite a lot. Interesting how the pure check here with the backdoor does find it, which is really, really nice. And then a bit of a mix, some good suits going on for Badziakouski here as well, which makes it quite a nice candidate to check call, I think. Just got some really nice suits to be able to play river with. And then a pure split on the turn, and he does go for the bet.
I'll tell you what,
I mean about the
Badziakouski is a
suits.
scary guy to bluff. He just feels like he's so tough. He's so dialed. He knows, like, in this spot, he's very interested with these cards, and he does call, and I'll tell you with that too. He had the club, the diamond. He also knows he's blocking the straight, so he could bluff certain cards. He knows he might not even have to be bluffing. He knows there's flush draws that he's beating, and Zlotnikov is just gonna snap check. Just says, hey, that's what solver says. I'm doing it, and this guy's scary. Let it go. He actually did follow suit to what the solver approved there on the river. And Badziakouski, dicey spot, picks it up. Just and those, I think that's like if you were to take a player profile, what they do well. You kind of joked he just doesn't lose all ends, whatever. But like in spots where it's like uncomfortable and really close,
Yep.
where it's not clear cut, he does seem to find a way to pick those pots up. He's sticky, he's tough, and yeah, he just seems to pots go his way more often than not when it's close.
Absolutely. And yeah, and just be able to navigate on those spots as well, and not overdo it as well, and just kind of, and he has done on this FT. He hasn't really overdone it. He's just kind of, and he's now got a really nice stack going in 7-handed, where he could easily have found some spots where he could have had the roller coaster that Juan has been on. But yeah, he's just very quietly, very, very accomplished navigator of these. This is going to be an interesting one. If I imagine Buldygin's going to check here, it could be a good hand to barrel off with. It doesn't this time. Imagine if this goes check. A little bit of showdown, not a lot though, really, because of the hands that float the flop. It's going to be tough to find hands that we beat when they float the flop, so we might just discard our 5 as no showdown. 8 might also get a little bit greedy here and go for some value, but I would be tempted here by Jeschka if it goes check bet to maybe use this one as a raise, and he does use the block, which is really nice. I think this is really, really nice. Buldygin, though, I mean, he's going to be thinking, do I have more flushes here? Do I have a lot of hands that may be completed on the river? I am the chip leader. I am opening wide. Maybe not that wide, considering the button is short, but definitely could find and put 8s in a really tough spot. 8s without a spade, but facing a raise here is like a really horrible spot to be in. It's also one of those spots as well where if you're Buldygin, you're like, if I call, I lose, but like, and he does find a very nice disciplined fold.
All right, we're still 7-handed. This has been fun. Honestly, the time's been flying. I got to see how I'm on a different time zone. So we're at, let's see, I'm trying to figure this out. 30 started at 30, 240, 250. Yeah, so we've been going for a while. We've only lost, 2 players, and the blinds are at the 100K level. So it is, again, Perez short, and things are fairly even, though. 4 mil, 4.5 to 3.3. Very, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks tight. Zlotnikov short, but significantly less than, or significantly more than Perez. Perez has really just been hanging on. He did get a great spot, had to sweat it out, doubled, but now he's back to 500.
And also worth paying attention to some of the deeper stacks time banks. I mean, 7 minutes can go quick as well. 7 minutes, 8 minutes, they can go quick in some of these spots. So like that could speed up very quickly as well. This is an interesting board for sure with a hand like this. I wouldn't be surprised to see lead just complete dominance on the 5x and just a load of high equity hands that like a hand like Zlotnikov's got is going to be struggle to defend against. And he's definitely considering that here. If not lead, definitely, and he does find it. And this is the 6 of diamonds doing a lot of work here. Not low in the ace because we blocked some of the ace high folds, but like this is a really nice spot to basically like, what are you going to do with your king highs here? We obviously know he's got the best hand, but like when we have such a lock on a board like this, and he finds the raise in position with the king 9 suited, which is really out there and pretty inspired. It's like he can see what he has. It's like some absolute street poker being played here.
Yeah, that is extraordinary. I was actually thinking pre-flop in my head, and again, probably not the best thing, but could just shove, right? Because Marco's so much shorter. You have the ace-6. Again, how much, like, what does he do with the king X's? Is he opening? But as it turns out, yeah, cheers. Like, kind of just gotta tip your cap to Zlotnikov, who took a excellent play there. As we see a potential, they're deep though, but kings to ace jack here, ace jack off. And this could be, I guess Buldygin's just going to call, I think.
Yeah, I imagine you just see call here. Maybe suited, you find some 3-bets. I mean, it's not a terrible hand to 3-bet and put some pressure on, basically just remind him that I cover you. But yeah, I imagine this is going to be the most likely play. And top set with a spade, it's almost a bit of overkill in position. could go for the sneaky check. It might look a little bit face up, but might with a spade on a range bet board though, it could definitely be something that gets found. Just had a message from one of my friends there saying, "Wow, you aren't completely clueless," which was nice to hear. And does float the flop here. I mean, now if we're with Balaev, just got to put some more money in. The spade does have a big interaction here as well. The check's very cool. I actually thinking back about it, the check is really nice with the spade because even on spade completers, we're not really that worried. Buldygin probably just got a little bit too much hand to bluff with here. Could get spicy versus a bet. Could. Because you could imagine this hand like ace queen might now start going for value, and that's kind of hand that we could, bluff off on the river. But I imagine it just goes check bet fold.
Yeah, this is again key card for the straight. Although kings with top set, the nuts other than the Jack 10 and Jack 10 off's not flatting, right? So it's Jack 10 suited, the only hand you lose to.
Yeah,
those combos,
which is in there in pure frequency, and also a hand like nines and like queen nine suited, maybe a queen nine suited, not maybe floating the flop, but they're definitely in there. It's kind of a board you imagine because it's high card that this is going to be great for the imposition player, but because of the structure of the setup of the stacks, that actually it's kind of favors the small blind quite a lot considering how condensed that small blind range is going to be. Does go for overbet on the river, which is really interesting, and I mean I think he's kind of found this size as well because it is more favorable for the small blind. You do want to be polar in this spot, and he's not obviously like doesn't know he's against the ace jack, but he's trying to charge the most from the queen x that's floated. Maybe the queen 10 suited backdoors that have really nice candidates to call, or tens or something like that. So yeah, very nice to find the overbet on the river there.
Oh, Zlotnikov, another nice timing. Although, is there 7-8 suited? Does Badziakouski
Well, we
or
have
Jeschka?
four bigs under the gun.
Perez got the king 5. Yeah, this would be okay. He's going to take his 5 blinds to the big blind as Balaev with the weak ace. Is it good enough, or do you? Okay, he
Yeah, I
does
think
get it in there.
as chip leader here, you've got to open every ace now. It's time to put some pressure on.
Yeah,
He's going to run into it, and I imagine we just see jam. Could see 3-bet here. It's
no,
actually
he's
quite
gonna
an
rip
interesting
it.
spot to
He's
find
gonna
3-bet.
rip it. He's got sub 20. You're
Oh,
right.
you
Wow, I
see,
thought
yeah.
you're right. Isn't ace king suited better to 3-bet and ace king off probably better to rip there or
It
no?
is, but in a spot where I think Balaev will have the suited ace X as well, we want to induce that to get in. And if there's ever a time to induce that, and also like if we 3-bet, like going post, the SBR is going to be such that it's going to be fairly easy to realize equity with our hand. Obviously, suited is going to be nicer, but I don't mind the 3-bet induce there, especially against the chip leader. A spot for Perez here now where he's just, he's going to have to defend and just pray he flops some equity, and he does. And this is a spot. I mean, I struggle with these ones about if we wanna jam ourselves, getting 3s to fold, getting 5s to fold is pretty nice because we're often just going to be faced with one big blind here, and then we go down into the weeds. It's a really tough spot to master because yeah, it is nice to just kind of jam these flops. Getting 8s to fold is amazing, which probably doesn't fold anyway. But
What about ace 4 suited?
now? Yeah. And now we've kind of cut ourselves out of a lot of equities. Actually, I mean, in terms of the price, he's made the right decision, but it's one of those ones where it's pretty tough to kind of work out. And now there's going to be a bit of a standoff where we have 2 bigs in the small blind. It's kind of Balaev to be able to just open the deck and be like, look, there's 2 bigs in the small blind. What are you going to do?
Yeah, interesting orbit coming up here as no one is really even close to short. Yes, there could be a big cooler. Zlotnikov still has 20 bigs though for your next shortest. So I mean, deuce 4 is an underdog to have anyone put their chips at risk before he takes the big blind. These next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more hands, but stuff happens.
Jeschka as well, like there was a bit of a tank there, I think, as well, because he just has to be careful about what he continues here in the big blind. Like you don't want to get yourself in massive pots when there's a 2 big blind stack and what I don't know how big the page jump is, like 20k page jump coming up. This is also going to feed into now like how Jeschka continues, because this might be a spot that he might want to check raise quite a lot, but with that stack, doesn't necessarily want to do it. And the sizing choice here from imposition is very telling as well, where he's kind of knows this. It's like, look, this is a wet board that it's going to favor you quite a lot, but good luck continuing your 5x, because look at the stacks. Now, interesting turn card. It actually probably kills the action a lot. Buldygin might try and get another bet out there, but I think it probably goes check on the turn. But yeah, that big sizing is indicative of being like, I'm going to put pressure on those kind of middling hands now, considering the lineup, and like good luck defending your 8-7 off, because you're going to face some more pressure down the streets. It doesn't really matter what I have as in position. It's like, well, I can just kind of apply the pressure now, because there's going to be more to come, and unless you improve, then good luck trying to realize your equity. Does
Yeah,
go
so he
for
does.
yeah.
Nice spot for Hans. He's got his guy drawing stone dead. Granted, you have a 3-high flush draw. You do realize you could be beat, and you also could be fading some diamonds or things on the river. But as it plays out, yeah, this is likely just going to go, if this is just call here and then river, check. I mean, I don't think ace-9 is going to, barring, the board does pair now, but still, yeah, I think.
Would consider a bet from Jeschka on the 8. I mean, probably not, because I think all of his 8x is going to fold the turn and might not even continue on the flop. Imagine this for goes check, but Jeschka could just find some like really polar bet size. Just go check. But that's the thing, is like would sometimes have an 8 here, but because of the setup, he probably doesn't really that often. Perez is desperate to find a hand now. I mean, he has just been dealt out 4 deuce off, 7-8 off. Like, he's just desperate to see, if he's using the card peel on GG, he's just desperate to just see a face card and something, mildly high at this point.
He's energy in the Messi World Cup trophy. That's he's got the Argentina flag, and again today actually no Brazilian flag in Austria, right? Usually at least they do have one there.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Did we not? I'm just make sure. So it was no. We lost no Brazilian again, man. I don't know.
No
Maybe it is
Brazilians.
their summer time or their winter time during this time of year. It's like maybe vacation or taking a break, but it's very bizarre to not have Brazilians at the final table for
normally
multiple weeks.
staples
It's
of
crazy.
this.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is great prep, because this is one of the tournaments that I see every week and don't play. Now, since the score, I will be playing this one.
I meant to ask you that. Are we going to be seeing you? And man, the booth magic is real. You're also coming in with the tempo, the timing. You're immersed in it, not just looking at the highlights as we see here.
I'm taking my mental notes to my client later, definitely.
Have you satellited it? Do you ever do the satellites for him too? Because it's still like a good way to get in too. For
yeah,
1K,
I mean,
we've seen
I
a
never
lot of people spin it up.
Never tend to for the 10K. I always play the 10K when it's the big one at the end of the series, like when it's the 1 mil guarantee for first. I always play that. I normally max late reg it. But from now on, I'm going to be playing this every week. So this has definitely not only been really fun to do, but like some very good prep about, looking at somehow how a lot of these FTs play out. I mean, on a Sunday, it's so hectic for me in terms of table count. I tend not to even try and get in the 10K because I have so much other stuff going on. But from now, I am going to be in this one each week. So yeah, this is definitely very interesting. And straight away, another fascinating hand. Small blind finding the 3-bet with a jack-3 off.
Yeah, just
now,
Marco Perez. It's a chip leader opening. He decides it's going to be so wide. He wants to just attack here. He doesn't get the first part of the plan, doesn't get a fold. He actually does out flop King 9 suited, although this is a board King 9 suited. Again, some nice back doors and 1.8 in the million. And interesting hand. Definitely the most interesting hand of the final table thus far with the big pop going here.
Yeah, this could get spicy very quickly, because Jeschka is probably going to be betting the flop quite a lot. I think he's going to have more of the Queen X. If we consider that the small blind's range is going to be Ace X heavy, and also hands like this, and the solver does like hands like this. It likes the high card, low card. It has that. It doesn't really have any blocker qualities, but it's just a hand that is in there as part of that kind of putting pressure, and likes the high card, low card. Now, I imagine turn probably could go check here, and I mean, it gets very interesting very quickly, because when we do check the flop out of position, we are kind of announcing our hand as being showdownable, and either showdownable or incredibly strong. And that's kind of where Jeschka is going to be now looking about if he bets a turn or not, is like, is this a showdownable hand? And if it is, how low can we go? Like, can I get a pair to fold here? Can I get a hand like eights to fold here? You know, and he does get the best hand to fold. And a little venture out there from Balaev, which has been immediately punished. Those two just going at it. And now Jeschka with a pretty big chip lead. Queen eight
Yeah, that
suited.
was a cool hand.
This is the one.
Funny, he's actually got the best of it here. No one even behind him with the better hand, and 8-3 off in the big, but 5-6 suited may, yeah, for what, a blind here, understanding may get to showdown, going to want to get in here. And Juan with the 8-3 off, not really incentivized to squeeze out, as Queen 8 going to get a pretty clean situation here. Has to fade a 5 or 6-2 to come. And Juan Pardo just going to be a quick check. And as it stands, yeah, 5 or 6 up to basically best case ever scenario, has to fade it, and he does. Probably got a little heart palpitation on the King River. Random King could beat him, but no, it is good. And Marco is back like he never left. 5.8, drew it up, took it down to the felt, got it in good, held, and there he is. There he's got the right celebration. That is the one for that. 5.7 blinds coming to the big blind, but back in the game, and we will keep on keeping on here.
I mean, unfortunately for Perez, he has got that thing in the top left corner, which is the blinds are up next hand. So it is nice to get back in there, but you're immediately going to be back in the danger zone. You don't really have a free orbit here again. But it makes it fascinating. I mean, look how wide Jeschka's open here now, because he just can. He's opening the Queen 7 off. Like he's just able to do this because the vast majority of the time, the blinds are up next hand, Perez is going to be out. And Zlotnikov's in the big blind, also short. So like Zlotnikov's probably defending like absolute bottom of range here, despite it being, you know, Jack 9 off. He might not even continue with. Zlotnikov has got a bit out there. He might just think that like, come on, mate, you're opening deck. I have a good shot at 2 overs. I might apply some pressure. Maybe he doesn't even looking at the pay jumps here. Maybe he's just thinking, you know, this is just going to be so many range for hands, and he does do that, which I kind of really like. If you're not going to play like ICM and you're going to play for the win, this is a really nice spot to find it in against a range that it's just going to have like, he's got Queen 7 off, he's going to have, you know, Jack 8 of hearts are doing the same thing, and he's just going to try and punish that. And he does hang it on the turn, which, I mean, Zlotnikov now, I think we want to start pot controlling and checking and try to just kind of get to river. But Jeschka's going to feel a little bit weirded out if he seems check here. Luckily for Zlotnikov, he does have enough showdown to be able to check. Faces another bet. And if I'm Jeschka now, I'm starting to think this is probably like hand strength. We are betting, he is essentially betting his hand strength here. So you're not going to be loving continuing. But he does have the 7 of diamonds, does have some, you know, implies on the river. Might just think Zlotnikov's at it and just has like 8-4 suited here or something like that. Finds the fold and gets the, you know, still have that big chip lead. Now Perez is going to need to find something good, and he has found something pretty good here.
Just we had a question from Twitch, and just to kind of directly ask you, you were saying you don't look at the table, but in terms of with the WSOP main event final table, I want to answer for myself. But if you're chip leader, would you want to get coaching like this week? They had a little bit of a gap. Do you think that in that sense, when you have different than like in game watching a final table, what do you think about getting coaching or not? Would you want to do that, or just keep your own thing going?
I've spoken to this with a lot of my friends. We've all have different opinions. I don't know. I think it's because it's such a long gap. I mean, I hate day twos as it is. I like this as a true online player. I just want to play through. You know, I want every tournament to be a 1 day tournament. Let's just play through, play on momentum. But I think you would feel like it was a disservice if you didn't. Right? It's the biggest spot you're ever going to play in your life. Like, it would be a disservice to yourself and maybe people who have swaps or pieces that you don't put some work in. But I think I would try and do a little bit of both. I think I would want to feed in maybe a bit of rest time. Honestly, I don't think it's a terrible idea to even play. Like, to play online, play an online session, keep your head involved in poker, you know, just keep ticking over poker, because you take 3 weeks off and playing cards, then you get dealt cards again in the biggest spot of your life. You might feel a bit rusty. And even if it's something small and the money doesn't matter, maybe it's a good idea to just put some volume in, maybe go play a circuit ring series or just something like that, just to keep you, you know, in the mix of it. But I think I would do work, but I probably wouldn't be in, day out. I do have a little bit of that, like, you know, if I overthink this, I don't want to play a hand that I would have done differently, maybe more poorly with that much information over just like playing it as it is. But
I,
it's
yeah.
it's one of those questions that you wouldn't know until you're there, right?
Oh, yeah, agreed. I will say one of my wow, the all in. This is all right. What? Let's talk about this quickly. What ace 10 off
Ooh.
snap fold? What are you calling there as Balaev in this spot? There's a 3 blind stack. Like
Oh,
you know, like future game, you're going for the win or not. But ICM's crazy. Are you calling ace king always? Are you calling tens plus,
yeah. I
eights
think you got
plus? I
to call
mean,
the yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I would rather call the pairs than that because you are going to
Right,
dominate against the lower pairs.
right.
If deuces are always jamming, deuces to fives always jamming, then yeah, I'd rather have eights than like ace queen. I think,
Yep.
but
Yep.
it's and this is why those jams are so powerful because he has fours there, his jam, but like he's just going to get so much equity to fold and like yeah, it's tough, but I think you have to call the ace king there and just hope. I mean, it's one of those lines that you call the ace king, you're always against the pair, of course, and you're never going to win. But I think
Yep.
that's kind of the threshold. Ace queen suited is the one that gets very, very difficult. And Perez is taking a stand here. He's going to be up against a hand that's, he doesn't mind seeing this one.
This is very reminiscent of the pre-flop or the pre-show. That's going to do it. That's the DDGG
That's going to do
drawing
it.
dead on the turn. But we did see Jack 10 to Ace King, one of the highlight hands, and there is a lot of Messi love out there. Messi getting some gifts put out, some of the great software features on GG as we got to see there. As 94K now. It took a while to go down to 7. The short stack is out, and I'll tell you what, no one is critically short. Look at this, 2.7 million to 6 million, and really the four five guys are tight, and then a 6 million stack. So this is a grind. This is not opened up at the moment really much at all.
Absolutely
Juan
not.
Dominguez had to go down. Zlotnikov was our short stack, and he did get in a nice spin up here. So he's all of a sudden in contention as we see. So wide open game. And I would say, I think I would like to get help in what I think the best thing to do is just to be running sort of like plug in, get the stack sizes. And of course now with technology and all this stuff, you could really like put it in, map it out, maybe bring a couple great players or one or two great players, put it on a screen, play it out as a computer, right? Like talk about what you do here, what you do, what the book says, and kind of like visualize it as it goes, and get and try to just run through scenarios and what you're looking to do. I think that would be a cool way to do it, and just kind of recreate the stack that you have in the other players. And yeah, I think that's they do the seat draw beforehand, or they do it live at the table. That's actually interesting if
I
you get to,
actually don't know. I
because that's a big
think it's
difference.
done before. Yeah, massive difference. I think it's done beforehand, but honestly, I wouldn't know. And like, yeah, it's one of those spots that you just don't, you would never know how you would react until you're in that position. Like, I mean, I was lucky with the 50K that it was like back to back to back. There was no gap. But like, if there had been a gap, I think it would have actually been massively to my detriment. And I think 3 weeks is a long time. 3 weeks is a long time to think about everything. 3 weeks is a long time as the shortest stack to think about. Hope you win that first all in, and it's a long time to think about if you're the chip leader and not wanting to blow it, right? So like I can't imagine the sleepless nights or you just completely just don't do any work and you just have a rest and you just think, whatever happens, happens. And I could certainly see that being the thought process for some people massively.
Yeah, no, it's again, everyone's different. That's the thing. It's a great question. It's very interesting to think about, and hopefully a problem some of us here get to experience. And what's up, Fade to Silk? Good to see you, man. We will get those giveaways going at four-handed here as we are getting close again. Must be subscribed. Must hit that thumbs up. Those are both free, and of course on X. I'll drop that link a couple more times. I'll get it for you in one sec. We did pick the winner last week. Appreciate you guys. I do not perfect on that. I did get a reminder. I did just message DM the winner. So each week I do put out a tweet, $50 cash out of my pocket. You can tell me which way you want it, and I will put that there. You guys can just retweet, guess who wins, tag a friend, 50 cash, your choice how to get paid. Good luck, link above. There it is. So that's that. I will get those keywords going, and yeah, this is GTO wizard time. Saying to bet small, ace king 3-5 out flops, does find the smaller size, and a all in or a call. So actually all in is preferred. And let's see, does VB just instantly grab that in, or does he call? He's
This
not
is a very
folding.
interesting node. It's a very interesting node. I think it's one of those ones. It feels a bit like solver noise, where yes, that might, but it's going to be taking into account a lot of things that maybe aren't happening here. But this is Zlotnikov, by the way, just on the. I feel like he's on the side of the table. It's like him versus everyone else. He's just kind of been there, just kind of like on the side of the table by himself, just like kind of sticking around. And interesting that he finds check here instead of going for value. I think it's because a lot of that is going to be centered around the queen X. That he doesn't want to value it himself. He also like the Zlotnikov might be checking eights on the turn, for example. But yeah, the all in. I'm gonna have to run that one later because that one's fascinating on the jam on the flop. It's very interesting. Gives it the so stake. He knows he loses. He knows he loses. That's 3 floats to flop here, I think.
Yep.
And yeah, just really cagey. Like the chips are just distributed in such a way that like very cagey spot for everyone, really. I mean, Jeschka does have a very nice spot here to just kind of overrun a little bit, but we know him and Balaev have been battling, so I wouldn't be surprised to see 3-bet here as well. And there it is. Those two have just been at it constantly. I mean, they've really. We've seen the Jack 3 off 3-bet. We've seen the Queen splatters, the King Queen. And again, but Jeschka, I mean, he does just have kind of free reign here to open a lot of the decks, especially hands like this, like the suited King X, just so nice to open. What do you think? Do you think the 3-week gap is a little bit too long or too short, or do you think you should go to
I think
November
it's
9?
perfect. I love this. I think they kind of got it right, in my opinion. I've seen it all. I've been playing for a long time. I actually had some sweats I had a big piece of in the 2015 final table, and that was crazy. The November 9, I think that's just like, it's almost like wild, like almost to the point where, man, someone could get sick or something crazy could happen. Like, it's
Yeah,
so
I
long.
mean,
It's
yeah.
like insane. Now, also, like, one day or no days, like, that's crazy. People are burnt out. If you're gonna have the ESPN, you're gonna have coverage. You want people rested, relaxed, get cleaned up, be able to get their friends, family. It's hard to do in a day, like, it's like a big difference. And you're out, like, you're not thinking about, you don't want to be texting, following up with people, trying to figure it out. Like, you want to focus, relax, and then when it's over, I'm sure people are following no to, like, they can start heading that way, or be ready for it. But either way, like, I think it's like great, maybe slightly less, but I still think that's enough. You stay in Vegas, maybe you can even fly home, do your thing, come back, and, like, you're cleaned up, you're rested, and have a little bit of time to get everything organized. So I think that's like a kind of a really nice adjustment. But anywhere between, like, I think a week minimum to around this time is like a sweet spot.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit long because it's nice. Like if you FT'd in Vegas, especially if you're not American, like it's quite people still being in Vegas, be able to come to your rail as well without having to fly everyone back over is quite a nice thing to be able to do. But like, yeah, I mean, it was actually a consideration for us as Europeans that we get 90 days on our ESTA to go visit America. But like, if I had played the World Series from the very start, and first day the World Series started, I would have to have left the country before the restart of the final table, which normally is fine. But coming in and out of America is not always the easiest thing in the world. And would you want to take that
That's
risk? You'd
interesting.
say your stack's worth 4 million and you fly over and you've got a little sweat that, like,
Wow.
because
So that actually could affect someone if they had been here for a while before, and then they started and they actually use, like, the most of their time, right? They would have
Yeah.
to they'd have to time it, or maybe even come back. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Didn't cross my mind. But yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like the lead up into it, definitely, and like but I maybe think it should be trimmed down a little bit. But it's fascinating to see, like, how people are approaching that, and like it's because, I mean, to think about like a mentally challenging spot in poker in terms of having 3 weeks to be like thinking, and all you can think about is main event. You won't be able to take your mind off it. Like, even if you're the shortest stack, you have 8 bigs, all you're thinking about every night you go to sleep is doubling up, and then what happens then, and what happens then, like. It's hats off to anyone in that spot because I can't imagine having 3 weeks only thinking about that. Zlotnikov with the blades in the big blind. He might face an open here, actually, because this is, again, a kind of hand that, yeah, the kind of high card, low card is going to be wanting to do a lot of open, a lot of pressure on the big blind. I hope Zlotnikov finds the very sexy flat here. Or he might think of his image that maybe 3-bets that, like, he's just going to face more action, but the little tank flat is probably the nice spot here, although maybe not with the tank because it's going to look. Oh, he does go for the 3-bet.
It's inviting. It's a warm invitation. Although this particular hand, 10-3 suited, is suited, but it's ugly and it's out of position. I think that might end it. Although it looks, yeah, it does look very strong. He's got Buldygin and Balaev are similar stack to him, so Badziakouski not far away. It's important. I always wonder at the foul table. I generally don't see a ton of trapping with aces, and I think there's a very unique time where it is like okay. I think there is definitely that would make sense. You're in position. It's a vulnerable spot. You guys there's a lot of ICM, so you're gonna see a player who's covering, put pressure on you. But I don't know. I'm not actually sure the best way to break that down.
Blinds up next hand as well. So like these like middling stacks are all going to be kind of in the danger zone now. I imagine we go to 150k big blind probably, or was it 160? But like it is 140. Okay, so it's a little bit flatter. But yeah, I mean, all these stacks now are all starting to get in a little bit of a zone now where chips definitely could fly. Buldygin here has a possibly good candidate to go for a 3-bet fold. Possibly not. I mean, look at the hands behind as well. Badziakouski, does he? He does find the fold. Jeschka, with the history he's had with Balaev, could just find the jam here. It's been like you're opening too wide. Like it doesn't this time, but definitely could be a possibility he thinks about. But yeah, if you're Jeschka now, you have a really nice spot considering the stacks behind. You can just apply so much pressure, and I'm actually surprised he didn't think about 3-betting this one, perhaps. But yeah, he just has such a nice spot now to just completely bulldoze the other stacks.
Yeah, no limit, such a wide, vast game. There's so much bluffing. Ace Jack on the King 3 rainbow here is going to be good, enough. But at the same time, it is against what under the gun. Balev's going to have a very strong hand, so he's going to attack. And eights is it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, this is very spicy, and I think once we check raise a flop on the 9, it's going to connect enough that we probably have to double barrel. And specifically to put hands like this in some tough spots. And also like Jeschka does have a big King X advantage. He's going to have the suited King X, more of the offsuit King X. That he's kind of trying to push that. He does slow down on the turn. Zlotnikov dropping the haha on the check, which is always funny to see.
And what a show it's been. Really getting a full 1,700 watcher right now. It's been quite an adventure of a show. I'd say a little bit more like little less volatile, like crazy, but a lot of great plays and sort of small ball, more pots and flops than normal. And we've seen a lot of maneuvering here as this has been a very interesting battle and still too early, still way too close to call. Jeschka has emerged here and has a spot where it's not fun. You're on the river. It's really all very interesting. Do you want to know he's going to check and
Yeah,
eights should check back happily?
I imagine so, yeah. I mean, Balaev could think about going for some value here, greedy value, but you just could get yourself in some very tough spots. I think you again want to pop control. Gives you 3.7, enough to battle with. The check raise on the flop's very interesting, and I would be interested about that one. Yeah, Jeschka still like loses that pot. He's still just like this is the point of like having these stacks that you lose one like that, it doesn't really matter. You just gonna pick it up in the next few hands anyway because you're able to just push your equity and push your dominance as a chip leader on the FT. Very frustrating for Juan there, by the way, just getting dealt kings and getting the quickest fold I've ever seen in my life. Just no action straight away.
Yeah, look at how tight this is. Buldygin with 2.2, 2.5, Zlotnikov, Badziakouski, really been under the radar. He's kind of won most of the pots I see him play, but he's just sort of there, right? He started with, let's see, what did his stack size start with? He's got 2.5. He's came middle of the pack with 2. What was his actual stack? Let's see. He had, does it say 2.4? So he's literally got the exact stack he started with. Buldygin is also with 2.5 to start. He's right there.
He's been
Zlotnikov
right up
was
and down though.
8 stack. He was at 1.2, so he's basically double his stack. And now a click little more in the click. Buldygin with the
Little click,
premium tier
yeah.
1 hand, a little more, little juice on it. Out of position. Wasn't going to be going anywhere there. And Jeschka actually with a ace 10 off. Badziakouski debating if he's probably isn't going to want to. It's really close. He does actually open, and that's interesting because 10s here and ace 10 for Jeschka also has a decision. Maybe a 3-bet flatting. I don't think plays as well here. He could check the temperature. Flatting, I don't like. So is he going to fold or 3-bet? Most likely 10s now. If
Yeah,
Juan sees a 3-bet, really that sort of shrinks his hand up. But at the same
yeah.
time, he knows that Jeschka with the chip. This is super cool spot. He doesn't give
Ooh.
much time thought to it, and that is going to be a nice pickup, likely for Jeschka. I would imagine gets it done. I mean,
And that's just the awareness of someone like Rampado there. Like, I think a lot of people would tank in that spot, think about you got tens, but like, look at his stack and like also with the fact if you raise, you tie yourself in versus Badziakouski, and Badziakouski's going to have a very strong range. So like, when you get it in versus him, which is going to happen sometimes, you're in a pretty bad spot. But yeah, just I mean, just like the pure class of someone like Rampado, just muck tens, don't even waste time bank on it. He knows it's right. Complete confidence in what he's doing. Yeah. And also just the awareness to know that like the chip leader is allowed to do that. You know, the chip leader is allowed to 3-bet, and you do have to fold good hands. Like almost in deference to the chip leader is how you play these FTs massively. I do think there are going to be fireworks still between Jeschka and Balaev. I don't think they're finished yet. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 3-bet, 4-bet. Like those two have just been at it next to each other, and I think Balaev wants that chip lead back, definitely. And there it is. Now, I mean, it depends how much they want to battle here. Jeschka really has some decent blockers here to throw in a little click and just be like, you've been at it all the time. Like, what about now? But
yeah.
these two have
At
been
the same
absolutely
time,
at
it's
it.
so fun because it really is like it just he is
Yeah,
okay. He does go for it there. It's gonna say at some point you got to like do something and take a
there
stand.
it is.
Balev,
As I said,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, not surprised to see open 3-bet, 4-bet, which is it's like kind of crazy. And this is like, in theory, we're probably not doing these things, but look at the dynamics of the FT. Like they've been at it a lot, and Jeschka at some point has had to gone right. Enough's enough. How deep is Bads? Bads could find the open jam here. That's definitely something they could do. A hand like this probably wants to find some open jams in the area it is. Yeah, not
But you
too
know what's
surprised to see
amazing to
that.
me? It's amazing. That's not crazy. That's not like the most wild play. He has got the risk premium. Basically, the lowest tide was Zlotnikov. He's right in the mix. But to know, okay, like that's maybe counterintuitive, but actually, like again, the chip leader is going to pick up so many unforced spots. They don't want to call off light.
Yeah,
They're kind of get out of the way. So it actually is a nice spot. With that said, it's kind of amazing. How does he just not have ace jack or have nines or
yeah,
something? And just like
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
just you're right. It just feels like that Badziakouski's timing and stuff. It's just so like he just
Yeah.
seems to it just kind of like glides through and avoids like really ever super danger or tough, coolers or bad timing. I think the great players seem to have such great timing all the time, and that's not just luck, right? There's thought on it. They know the spots. They know what they're supposed to do. They know what the players wanting to do. They know where they're overfolding, underfolding, and all this. So like it's a mix of good timing, but mostly luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and just super prepared find a spot and get there and get it done and picks it up and just again an important pot. There's 3-way with 2.5, 3 players right now, and go ahead and put this in. How often, if you take Balaev, Zlotnikov, and Badziakouski, if you order those 3, who finishes where? How often is Badziakouski gonna find his way to the final? At least 4. With 6 left. Is he
No,
gonna
absolutely.
Is he gonna outlast those guys? And it just kind of, if you had to bet that particular game tree, actually 4 players, right? Zlotnikov, Buldygin, Balaev, Badziakouski in that spot. Yes, as Jenska's in a different game tree right now. Dominguez is also in a it's a significant difference in the stack. But of those 4, map it out, think in your head, and kind of predict what happens. Where does he end? And I think he's the favorite to get to furthest. Like he just seems to,
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
think, do the best when it's all things given are equal.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to find his way through the field. He's going to be so aware of the risk premiums and be able to navigate through that. And he kind of has played his role. He's played his role perfectly as the stack he has, and this is interesting to find the open jam here. And this is the
Yeah,
reason
actually, I
he's
thought he was
doing
going to do
this.
that. I think he's going to
Yeah, it's
jam. That
just
was perfect
you don't
spot.
want to raise call, and you want to get like ace five off to fold the small blind that might jam, and that's just what prints with a hand like that. But yeah, I mean, Jeschka's got a very nice spot here. Particularly where Juan is kind of handcuffed as well about getting amongst it. That four bet with Jeschka with the queen jack off before is really nice. It just shows the dynamics of like paying attention to the person on your left, paying attention to what they're doing, pay attention to like how wide they're going after you, and just like taking that by the horns.
I, I wouldn't mind a shove there. No, with fives, you think like opening fives in this spot seems a little cute.
I would say this is definitely a jam because yeah, then this happens a lot, and you just don't get to realize your equity. I think as a shortest, you want to just be taking that one. Um, yeah, I would be very surprised if we don't see an open and a jam from the big blind here, and they're gonna be running it, and ace queen of spades, it's a jack ten of spades. I would be very surprised if this isn't just in. Here we go.
All right, Jack 10 suited, ace queen suited. Let's see here. The ace arrives. That's going to make things pretty straightforward. Needs the queen, queen only. He's got one of those in his hand. On the river, no, that is a knockout. VB, can't even say VB today. There's two VBs. Buldygin is going to go out. We will go down to five-handed, one away from the giveaway. 10 mil clean for Jeschka. Is it his first? Is that right? We going for his first or second? Jeschka does have a title. 2 final tables, 1 win. Buldygin is out. He will not get his first title. Dwan has 4 titles. Zlotnikov has not a title. He did start in 8, so great result for him no matter what. He's going to rip it there. Balaev has 1 title. And what else? Badziakouski has 1. So pretty much Balaev would be... No, I think we'll have a repeat winner, right? Is that right? Everyone has 1? Juan 4, Balaev 1, Jeschka 1. Yeah, everyone has a title here, so we'll see. It's either going to be a 5-time winner or a new one. And Badziakouski thinking ace-8 off.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say this would be an interesting spot to find 3-bet with because it's gonna be such a narrow range. You want to find bluffs from somewhere, and the suited ace X are gonna be too good to 3-bet because you want to be taking flops with them and realize your equity on like the flush draw boards. But then using this with like the blocker value of the ace is really nice. And then because this FT has all gone Jeschka's way, obviously he just has a hand that jams. I mean, the spot for Jeschka now is really nice, and also the fact that Juan is so in the bin that he just can't really do anything. I mean, yeah, it's kind of his to lose at the moment for sure.
How are we looking on our wager?
I still have Jeschka.
Oh, you do have Jeschka. Wow. Wait,
do.
did you? You did gab him, right? Yeah. And I have Zlotnikov, what's this? This is a min raise, Balaev here. I have Badziakouski. I have Juan, no?
Yeah, you have Juan
Yeah.
and Badziakouski. Yeah, I had Paulius
Zlotnikov.
and yeah.
I
You still have. I will still favor my side currently, even though you have 3 players still in the go. I mean, I'm looking good here.
Yep.
And that's probably what's he got here? He's got what, 8 bigs? Yeah, it's probably just goes in and finds the open though. This is the thing that this is why he's so good. Is I might look at that, or a lot of the players might look at that and go, okay, shortest stack. That's ace in the cutoff. But button might not want to call that wide, but finding the raise here is something that I think a lot of people miss. And obviously, Jeschka just has ace queen because I mean he is getting the rub of the green here for sure. Very very nice open from him there.
Speaking of Badziakouski, I got to give him some credit too. He's thrown his hat into the hand in the hat to the content game. Seeing him, he's got, I think, his girlfriend or
How is
fiance.
he?
They're doing
Oh,
some
nice.
stuff. He's been doing some bits and having a good time. And he's, you know, I see that's one thing I felt in the last few years within the poker world, the community. Nice jam there, big jam with Juan with
Big
4.3.
jam,
Just
but
doesn't worry. Just,
really
you know, power
nice.
jam.
Yeah.
That's pads. Shout out to pads. But it's like there's been a merge of sort of like the greatest players, the top kind of crushers doing some content, and then some of the content guys that have worked hard on their game. So you're kind of getting this like sort of like merging of like more content and people getting better, which is
And
cool.
here
And
we
there we go.
go.
Ace three off makes a stand. Ace seven. He thinks there's some worse hands there. He's going to call the seven ace in the lead 78% of the time to the turn. Now the river, the 4 and the 6 are under there. So this is looking good. He needs a 3. It's a 2 of spades, and that
Oh,
is for
7 plays.
2,022,000. A lot of twos there. 2,022,000, 226 pot going Juan's way. Good game. Golfer claps, respect all around as he will go out four-handed, activates the giveaway. Good luck to everyone. Must be subscribed, must hit the thumbs up. 172 of you are eligible to win right now. $350 GG tickets. We'll get that going here as fives
We're
and
back
ace
in
jack.
again.
Wow. Hold on a second. Chips are flying. Juan, the start of the day chip leader. The fives in the lead 3 out of 4 times. 75% to the river. 86%. Can Zlotnikov fade? Yes, he can do it. That is a guy that can do it. He just did it. Giveaway number 1 starting. We will still continue four-handed. That would have been like three-handed, like bang, bang, but it's not. We're
Very
still
quickly, yeah.
four-handed, and chips are flying. Here we go. Giveaway number 1. Oh, wow. A lot of action.
There's one player who's living that more than anything, that's Jeschka. Because as soon as if Juan then starts getting 7 million, it becomes a very different game. So he's absolutely loving the fact that Zlotnikov held there.
Yes, that's exactly right. That is right, as that is the first giveaway. There it is. Number 1 of 3, $50 GG ticket. Keyword is GGWSOP. Jamie Dwan, insert your GGPoker username. There it is. People are already off and running as we see ace 4. He says good luck. He does this a lot. He pump fakes and he is going to fold. The guy's, it's just a bit. He sticks with it. You got to respect it.
He didn't do it before when he called off. Interestingly, he's only done it when he's had bad hands. Yeah, Jeschka now, I mean, like, blinds are up again. He just has such a nice spot here. No one can do anything. He can essentially, I mean, he might even be able to jam any 2 here in the small blind. I wouldn't be surprised if this jams. It's such a overwhelming amount. I mean, yeah, he goes to the open. I think maybe a hand like this is just really too bad to jam. Balaev, though, we know they've been battling. Is he just tempted to just click him here? He's respected the chip lead this time.
I do want to point out to everyone that there is a very cool PLO series going on. That is a 20 million in series guarantees. It's a $1 million mystery bounty is available. 200K leaderboard, August 2nd to the 17th. So that is underway. The PLO series. Good luck to everyone. I love PLO. Do you play some mixed games? Any other games? PLO?
I don't, but I am starting to learn actually. For next summer, I've decided I'm going to learn all the mixed games. So I've got a coach lined up, and me and Chris Morman are actually going to be learning together.
Nice.
To try and get into the mixed game streets next year, because we both want a bracelet hunt, and it looks like a lot of fun. And yeah, might be checking out that PLO series, but I'm just gonna start playing a lot more of the mix. I mean, I look at the fields every year in the mix in Vegas. I'm like, I just surely these games are beatable.
It is mixed games are fun. I play some, not much well, but I do love PLO. Although like PLO 8, 5 card. There's Big O. Those games are super fun. In terms of like the Raz and those other ones, I haven't dove into much. 7 card stud or whatnot, but it is fun. It is fun. Hold'em's great. That people talk about online poker's going. So where's it going? People love to gamble, have fun. It's a mix of skill and luck. It's social. It's like poker's not going anywhere. It's like it's the same as always. There used to be 5 card draw, 5 card stud. This like Brit. It's like doesn't matter. Like come on, you're telling me you don't want to play a PLO mystery bounty knockout, whatever. Like, of course you do. It's just fun, man. It's fun. And here it's great because you still, again, you see players that use solvers that work hard, but also there's exploits. Anyone can win. We see satellite stories, 150s to 1Ks to the dream as Ace Jack now picks up double gutted 9-5 with a pair. Hard to make a pair. Balaev in there. Kind of has a nice cheeky hand here.
Always see stories of people just binking 50Ks. Poker is alive and well.
It is a lot. It is alive. Things can happen for sure, and that is we're
Absolutely.
watching it right here as the 9-5 has got the winner if can hold on.
Yeah, I think this probably goes check here, and Jeschka's gonna again have the upper hand versus Balaev, who must be absolutely raging at some of these spots now. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. He's just able to just completely overrun this. And again, I wouldn't be surprised to see jam. If you see raise, yeah, again, just able to just jam so wide. Because this is the thing as well, like if he jams and he loses, it doesn't really matter. He's still gonna have what, 9.8 million, and everyone else is gonna have 3. You just pick him up in the next hand. Good to see fireworks here. This could be all in and call. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like Juan is
kings. I
is
mean, ace four suited, four-handed. It does rip it.
yeah.
He's gonna step into it. Zlotnikov, kings, has a king of diamonds, 5 mil in the middle. Can he spin it up? Ooh, spicy, scary. Is it naughty, nice, or spice? That is a nice turn for Zlotnikov. Doesn't have to fade too much. No,
Oh,
the dirty
oh,
deuce. It was a nice turn, but a naughty
32.
river, and he can't breathe. He will settle for fourth. Juan started chip leader, is second and third. Balaev is feeling good about his position. Where was he again? He started in second. So we see our basically chalk, right? At the moment, we
Yeah.
got Jeschka was in third. He's in first. Balaev was in second. He's in third. And Juan was in first. He is in second. So we got a little chalk scenario here. We got dinner on the line. You're looking good. Jeschka is jamming. We got to get the first winner here. Start the second. We're behind on the giveaways all of a sudden. And let's get that first winner. I see everyone is engaged. This is going quick now. Ace 9, 7, 10. Balev is critically short, 11 blinds. We could be heads up in a moment. Juan, definitely not going to let him come in here. The ace 9 suited. We are going to pick the first giveaway. Just getting word on that right now. And we have like 2,000 watching right now. 180 are eligible for that giveaway. Have hit the thumbs up at least. You must be subbed on top of that. But good luck. 50 cash. How did you start? I didn't ask you. How did you get going on online poker? Did you make a deposit? Did you get a transfer? Did you win a free roll? Where did you dive in officially? How, where, and why?
Yeah, I mean, I started very, obviously playing small. I actually remember winning a fifth or getting second in a $55 tournament way back. And then actually one of the first things I did was I invested a lot of that in coaching, which was a very wise thing to do at the time. I remember, yeah, that was like 4.5 years ago, and then just kind of fell in love with it and just really put everything into it. Missed a lot of things in my life to focus on this game, and I've thrown a lot into it, a lot of time, a lot of hours, and I just haven't looked back since. But yeah, I started low as everyone should, and I've been gone broke twice, as everyone should. I actually think in poker go broke at some point. Restart, rebuild, use all the experience you get from this game. And yeah, I mean that was 4 years ago now, and I haven't looked back since. It's just been my life. And I think nowadays as well in poker, it has to be your life if you really want to go for it. You've gotta love the game. And I've never looked back. And it's something that, I'll always love and I'll always want to grind.
Yeah, no, beautiful. That's amazing. That's again, it's cool. Like the one thing I just say, I've said this a lot on the show. I just want to throw it out there. We got a great show going today. 2,000 on as ace 7. Nice to make a house three-handed with the ace 7 off. His opponent has a little something as well with the 9 there. Could be interested depending on the size, but just important. Like you're 26. You got in during COVID, around 2021, this age, and you're kind of growing and building into it. It's very different if you're like 35, 40, you got a wife, you
Yeah,
got kids, you're older. It's like, oh, hey, I like poker. I'm trying it out. Let me start buying in, still try to be disciplined. Doesn't matter how much money you have or not, but you don't want to
absolutely.
be risking a ton. Like play 25 cent 50, play $10
Yeah,
tournaments, play for something, but make it small, ease into it. Like it's more fun that way to kind of learn, grow into it. Also just skill
yeah,
wise, if you hop into it where you've never played, it's going to be frustrating. Also probably
yeah.
not super great financially for you. So I think that's important,
Th-
right? To like,
There's
that's
a
one of the
lot
benefits of coming up early. You get to like
massively.
learn and grow. Yeah.
And like the skills you'll learn from playing small, you might not think it matters much, right? But I learned so much from playing $30 hyper FTs that I used on the 50K FT, of just like being around the game, seeing the same spot thousands of times, knowing that all helps in the 50K. You might think there's this big skill gap of then you able to be. But no, it's actually just a lot of it is experience. And there's also a lot of it is surrounding yourself by players who are better than you. And we have it all in a call here as well.
Hello. King 8 to 9-5, 9-5 suited, man. That is looking powerful.
Sweaty
The
flop.
9 on the board. King 8 has outs, 1% to the river. He needs help. Queener 7. No.
Oh,
Okay, heads up. We got an instant classic. You got a two in a more than 2-1 lead. About right, 14-6. Call it 2-1. This is for a dinner. We each got a player. Juan started chip leader. Jeschka started, I believe, in third, or was he also second? He was in third. So the 1v3 matchup, it is either going to be a 6.82 or the favorite 3.36 to 1 as we will battle. And I got to get the giveaways out. And actually, funny enough, here we go. Let me get number 2 going. Let me get it going here as we get the keyword. I'll put it in there. I believe we're going to go with yeah, I'll get that out here as we see. So what do you think? I mean, Jeschka, are these two great enough opponents where chips just kind of speak for themselves in terms of the odds to win? Or do you think Juan has a little bit of a better opportunity to close it here? And obviously heads up experience, we don't know the extent of what they have.
I think Juan has had such a roller coaster to get to this point. I feel like there's another twist left for him, and I'd buy out of my bet right now. Actually, I think Juan's gonna like maneuver himself in for another twist of the roller coaster here because it's all gone Jeschka's way ever since like the Queen Jack off 4 bet. It's just all gone his way. It's at the perfect distribution, and he's now going to be thinking as well like, oh, this is a bit tough spot to throw it away. But I think Juan might just roller coaster himself to this one.
All right, ace 5, king 3. Let me get the first here we go. Second keyword. Congrats to Eugene there. I just announced the winner, Eugene 6268. Giveaway number 1 in the books. Number 2 is underway. We are behind. I got to announce the winner quickly on this one and get to the third as we are already heads up. This is going extremely fast. Funny enough, I saw a clip today, which again, I'm sure this is the case for many, but this guy who was do you follow football at all, soccer? Are you into it? So this guy, Stuart Holden, he's one of the announcers from Fox. He had a career. I think he actually played in Sunderland for a little bit, but he was talking about that. He actually back then the MLS didn't pay a ton, and he was like early into the league, and this was like 2006, 7. But he was playing while he was at I think Sunderland. He was 19 years old, and he was playing a lot of poker, and he like made actually he run up money playing like ultimate bet or early stages online. And Stu Holden, who was I just saw the clip today pop up, but it's funny because like I think poker it's a great skill, and anyone who's an athlete or plays sports too, it's nice to have that kind of competitive mix in it where you can do something that's fun. Where if you're playing a video game, it's like you're not winning money or something. You're not risking anything. You don't do it crazy, but it's kind of a nice miss. So I shout out to Stu Holden. I'm actually going to see if you can get him on. He said he hasn't played in a long time. He would play event or tournament. He says he likes it. But 9-5 suited Jack 3, nice board for 9-5 suited. See if Juan can carve up this pot, find a way to win it. It does start checking. Jack high is in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was saying before about like in terms of like people wanting to start or get better, like just surround yourself who are better than you and just like absorb as much as you can. Watch as much as you can, involve yourself as much as you can, because every bit of knowledge you pick up, even at low stakes, is going to matter down the line. That's definitely the case with me. And it sounds silly to think that, I got a lot of, it helped me know because I played $50 tournaments online, but it did because I've played nearly every spot. I've gone through every spot. I've gone through every final table. I've been the final table chip leader as the short stack. And that makes a massive difference when it comes down to it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So it's kind of been like standing off each other heads up here. Interesting check raise the last hand, which I really like, especially when it goes check flop. Jeschka these are kind of some of the hands that you got to open heads up sometimes. But yeah, it's absolute roller coaster for Juan Pardo in this tournament.
All right, picking the second winner again. Reminder: must be subscribed, must hit the thumbs up to trigger to be eligible. 200 plus have done that. 2,000 on. We can do better than that. 4s and do 6. We see a limp. Talk to me about the limping stack wise. It sort of seems as you are short at a certain stack depth or your opponent, makes sense to start limping. We don't want to min raise, get blown off. You're deeper, you want to start raising. So here, this is probably just enough to rip it, right? Roll the dice.
I think so.
It's a
I think
pair.
so, yeah.
It's going to get folds. You're going to flip sometimes. There's bluffs, and there it is. So 4s get it done.
Yep.
Second winner, Ben's Boom. Boom. Congrats. $50 ticket. I got a third one coming for you guys. Don't panic. We got one more giveaway. And then, of course, the tweet. I'll get that link last time. You guys can retweet. Go to Jeff Gross Poker pinned. And Jamie, if you win, if you retweet it, I don't know if you did get it in. If you get the retweet and you get it out there, you're eligible. And if you win, I'll double down. I'll double. But that is there. That is available. And the link is there. I'll just tell you guys, retweet, guess who wins, tag a friend. Just going to not type that, but I do have the link in the chat. And the third giveaway about to go underway.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very technical heads up as well. I mean, Jeschka as well, as I said before, about like changing the gears from being the big chip leader to not. I mean, heads up is obviously a completely different game now. You have to kind of remove all that ICM. You've had a lot of fun open jamming, had a lot of fun applying pressure. Obviously, heads up, there's no ICM, so you do have to change your gears once again to be back into this. And they both have had that in this FT. They've been short, they've been chip leading, they've been down, like, and now you're seeing like the kind of the finale of that as they battle here. And this is already an interesting hand. I think it's gone 3-bet pre, bet flop. Jeschka's raised the flop, I think, and Juan Pardo's floated, which with the ace of spades and the 7, they're up around there. That makes a bit of sense. And could be interesting if we find check here with Jeschka with the 10 of spades, which is really nice. And I would not be surprised if Juan will go for this river here with the ace of spades. Getting to this river with this hand, he might go for it, and Jeschka's got a very nice hand to call with. This could be very big.
About 2-1 SPR. Is he thinking about ripping it? I mean, he's such a creative player. Could he bet big or over pot? I mean, what are we talking here? He's got the nut blocker, but queen 10 with the spade. This is, and blocking the straight. This is would be a big ask to let go.
And Jeschka's got such a nice hand to call with the 10 of spades. Oh, he's gone for it.
He asked for all of it. He's got one of the best kind of, not strongest hands, but blocking key stuff. It's a capable player. And I mean, man, if he clicks call, this is in the books. Jeschka, 450 on the shot clock. I mean, what a hand here. Such a good hand
to call with as well. Like, it's such a nice hand to call with here with the check on the turn. Like, yeah, this is such a nice hand to call with. But like, he's facing what, nearly 2x pot. Like, this is a real beautiful poker play. If he finds a call here, even if he doesn't, this is an amazing hand of poker, and it's really beautiful and technical. And use that time bank, Jeschka, because this is a tough spot. He has called.
He does it. He calls. He ends it in style against Juan Pardo Dominguez. Came in third, finished first, second win. Hans Jeschka, I believe 3 final tables with 2 titles. Impressive stuff. Playing a very, very inspired brand of poker. And I got to tell you, Jamie, what a day. What a final table. Juan Pardo won't get his 5th win. He will settle for 2nd. Nice score. 10K added. Bahamas seat in December. WSOP for the GG Millions there at Bahama. Pretty epic stuff, man. Jamie, your thoughts, takeaways. What a final table.
Amazing final table, yeah. Just some really technical play, a really interesting shift between the chip lead and how that moved around, and the roller coaster some players on, and then just Jeschka using that chip lead to his advantage massively. And then heads up, some hand. That is an amazing last hand from both. It's incredibly, just brilliant poker, and an absolute delight to watch.
Well, I got to say, that went so quick, that heads up. I just actually put the giveaway 3 of 3. We announced the 2nd winner. I put that in. The 3rd is in. I'm going to let this marinate for a second. We will pick that 3rd winner before we sign off. But what a day. What a show. Jamie Dwan, again, just winning 2.2 million, the 50K WSOP event. And the 3rd giveaway is underway. Let me just make sure the 2nd winner was Ben's Boom. I did announce it. The 3rd, you guys have a second to get it in. I will trail off here and announce the winner as we get that in. But I guess, Jamie, I'll leave that with closing thoughts. You're going to be playing this more. What would be your biggest learning from today? What do you think watching this today? You're going to dive into this weekly tournament often. What do you think? Where you feel more intimidated, more comfortable, more excited? Give me one thing you're kind of piecing up from this show today for yourself.
I think it's very interesting to look at the fact that you might consider something like this to be an incredibly theory-based tournament. Like, you're playing some of the best, it's going to be very much, solver versus solver, but it's not. And you can see by a lot of the hands here and a lot of the spots that people have taken, it's going to be incredibly important to pay attention to that pool, because there are a lot of very interesting spots, a lot of interesting sizes, and how people have applied pressure. I mean, you look at that Jack 3 off, and if, you know, that as a 3-bet in the small blind, like this pool is a lot more feisty and like street poker than you might imagine, and that for me is a fascinating insight into these tournaments, and like these guys must have a lot of history playing against each other. That's going to be very important to take note of, and there's definitely some mental notes already been taken, but I think I'm going to be maybe switching gears a little bit from going, you know, always theory to get in the strengths of some of these spots, because that seems to be the way this tournament is playing out.
For sure. And I got the third winner here. Going to put that up. And how do you believe, I'll just ask the last question as I type in the winner. Congrats to, it is Ditall3420. You got the third $50 ticket today. Tell me, how do you believe they'll approach you? Because people know you play online. You're already on GG of like 3.7 million in earnings. Do you think they'll give you the credit, respect right away? Or do you think they may kind of think, oh, you're the new guy here?
I think it'll be interesting because, yeah, I have a lot of history playing with these guys, none of those stakes. And it's the same when I won the 50K as well. I think a lot of people imagine like big buy-in, first time in that scene, I might be a little bit, you know, trying to ladder, etc. But I hope performance of the 50K that I'm not going to be playing scared. And as one of my friends put it, I was an absolute bomb scare on that FT. And I hope to carry that forward into some of the high stakes I'm going to be playing in the future. Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Well, listen, Jamie Dwan, appreciate the time. Congrats on your recent success. Cheers to more. And again, give him a follow, Dwan Jamie, in the socials, X, Instagram, and more. Jamie, good luck to you, man. 26, you're young, you're hungry, and I'm sure we'll see you here. We'd love to have you back on the show. And of course, we'll be calling your final tables in no time from here as well. So thank you for the time. Best of luck. Thank you again, and see you very soon.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.